Chapter 44:30. Alright, you guys stay here and cultivate. I'm going to watch a good show. Insu's lips curled into a smile. The disciples behind her were also curious about the good show. But since their senior sister had spoken, they could only stay here obediently. In the sky, a huge flying sword streaked across, tearing the void apart, bringing with it endless aura. At the same time, a figure was following behind silently. At the same time, there was a formation in his hand that seemed to be transmitting information at any time. At this moment, the flying sword in front stopped, and a few figures walked out from it. The person behind also stopped and hid in the void. Could it be that he was discovered? Impossible. The other party shouldn't be able to see through his movement technique. He could only wait patiently. Not long after, a few extremely terrifying auras suddenly came from behind, followed by a thunderous voice. It came from all directions, sealing the entire world. You guys are really stupid. You actually stopped after walking halfway. If you had flown a little longer, you might have been able to live a little longer. A sneer came from the sky. Young Masterling Su walked out. It's really you guys. The people from Thousand Mountain Grotto also snorted. We already knew that you guys wouldn't let this go. However, you guys actually dared to have ideas about our Thousand Mountain Grotto. You guys really don't know what's good for you. Is your Thousand Mountain Grotto very powerful? In front of me, you guys are nothing but ants. Now, hand over the 9 revolution blazing fruit obediently. I'm in a good mood and can give you a quick death. Is that so? Senior Brother Chi also sneered. Then hand over the mysterious map, and we can let bygones be bygones. Sir Lingshu's face completely darkened when he heard this. So you guys actually have ideas about my map. You guys are really daring. Don't tell me you guys think you can snatch the map from my hands with just the few of you? You guys really don't know what's good for you. Go. Kill them all. Following Sir Lingshu's order, the surrounding people also quickly moved. The aura on their bodies was constantly erupting. The surrounding people were also wearing battle armor. It seemed that they were also battle servants. Sure enough, every grotto would take in a large number of geniuses from other worlds as battle servants. These battle servants weren't weaklings. They were all geniuses. However, they were suppressed by the more powerful sacred kings. Now that they were attacking together, it was really terrifying. The surrounding void quickly cracked, and nothing could stop them. On the Thousand Mountain Grotto side, Senior Brother Chi also roared and attacked. Immediately, the surrounding battle servants also moved. Lin Xian also attacked. However, he didn't intend to go all out. He even wanted to change his identity to fight. Of course, the prerequisite was to wait for the war to break out. Sure enough, the battle servants began to engage in a great battle. Soon after, the disciples of the two paradise began to fight as well. Extremely terrifying laws appeared on Sir Spirit Su's body, forming a huge cauldron with a terrifying aura. Furthermore, the people behind him also began to move out in succession. A great battle broke out in an instant. These people were all holy venerables, and many of them were late-stage holy venerables. Among them, young Master Ling Su and Senior Brother Chi were peak holy venerates. It could be said that his strength was extremely terrifying. An illusion of a huge mountain appeared on Senior Brother Chi's body, as if to suppress the world. A terrifying power erupted. The two's laws clashed. Suddenly, a violent aura spread in all directions. Mo Feng, Fairy Qingqing, and the others also quickly attacked. The battle was very terrifying. The entire world was completely destroyed. At the same time, a figure landed on a mountain peak in the distance. It was Insu. When he arrived, he looked into the distance and a smile appeared on his face. He wasn't too late. It seemed that the battle had just begun. He wondered how the battle between the two sides would turn out. He was here to watch the show. Of course, if there was a chance, he didn't mind taking the mysterious map and the 9-turn flame fruit for himself. He was stronger than Senior Brother Chi and Sir Lingshu. He had reached the half-step Sacred King realm. The battle ahead was very intense. It was difficult to determine the winner. The battle servants were all attacking with all their might. Both sides suffered losses. Lin Xian's side had lost 5 battle servants not long after the battle started. On the other side, Farhad also died. The aura of blood mist spread between heaven and earth. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Sure enough, these people didn't treat the battle servants as humans. None of the disciples had died yet. The battle servants' eyes were already red. But there was no choice. They were under the life and death curse. Humph! He snorted coldly and punched the enemy back. To be honest, it wasn't difficult for him to kill these battle servants with his strength. However, what identity did he want to use to attack these people? At this moment, Sir Lingshu shouted angrily in the sky. Damn it, I didn't expect you to be so strong. I don't have the patience to play with you anymore. Today, I'll send you all to hell. Senior, do it. As his voice fell, a crack appeared in the void. Then, a man wearing a mask walked out. This person had an extremely terrifying aura. As soon as he appeared, he slapped at Senior Brother Qi. Senior Brother Qi instantly vomited blood and flew out. His face turned ugly. Half-step Sacred King. He gritted his teeth. Damn it, you actually brought a half-step Sacred King. What kind of genius are you? Do you dare to fight me head-on? Let's fight to the death. Senior Brother Qi roared crazily. However, Sir Lingshu looked up to the sky and laughed. Did water enter your brain? I have such a huge advantage. Why should I fight you one-on-one? Just kill him. Buzz. The masked man waved his hand and extended it forward. Heaven and earth shattered. An endless black hole appeared. Senior Brother Qi instantly vomited blood and flew back. In a hurry, he threw out a huge mountain to block. It blocked this peerless attack. One had to admit that this Senior Brother Qi was also a top genius. Even in the second astral realm, the true spirit world, he would probably sweep through everything. Only someone like Lin Xian would be able to suppress him. People like Fu Hongya or Guan Songhai couldn't compete with such a person. But unfortunately, no matter how strong Senior Brother Qi was, he was still not enough when facing a half-step Sacred King. After all, the difference in cultivation between the two was there. And this masked man was even more powerful. After one attack, he threw out another shocking attack. Senior Brother Qi's body instantly shattered, turning into a bloody mist. Chapter 44:31. No. Seeing this scene, Fairy Qingqing, Mo Feng, and the others roared crazily. They did not expect that their senior brother would die like this. Damn it, retreat quickly. They were geniuses, but this masked man was probably an extremely powerful half-step Saint King. Moreover, he also had many battle servants and Sir Spirit Su, who was a terrifying existence. If they continued to fight, they would probably all die. Therefore, the 4 disciples of the Thousand Mountain Grotto quickly retreated. At the same time, they ordered the battle servants to stop them and buy time for them. The battle servants' expressions became extremely ugly, but at this moment, the life and death wrinkles in their bodies suddenly flared up. It was as if they were about to be killed. They no longer dared to resist and hurriedly resisted. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian sighed. These grotto heavens were too cold and heartless. To be honest, these battle servants' talent was not inferior to Mo Feng and the others. After all, being able to kill their way to the buried Emperor Star from other worlds was enough to show their strength and talent. Unfortunately, they were being controlled by someone else. Now, most of them would probably die. As expected, the masked man's attack immediately turned 3 battle servants into a bloody mist. The other 2 also vomited blood. Sir Spirit Su ordered his battle servants to quickly charge over. Those battle servants combined with each other and formed a formation that froze the entire world. Ahead, Mo Feng and the others were also affected. The path was blocked again. Damn it! In an instant, a great battle broke out. At this moment, a large palm slapped over. Not only did it cover Lin Xian, but it also covered the 2 people beside Lin Xian. Good opportunity. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. He directly used the void escape and disappeared. At the same time, a bloody mist filled the air. The 2 battle servants were also killed. A bunch of trash. Today, I will let you know despair. Sir Spirit Su saw this scene with a smug smile. He looked at Fairy Qingqing and the others in front of him, and a fiery gaze appeared in his eyes. In a while, he would let these people know his power. The masked man continued to attack. At this moment, Lin Xian appeared in the distant void. He was enveloped by the void beast's skin. These people would not discover him at all. In the next moment, he was ready to attack. He did not plan to use his original laws and power, so he planned to use some mysterious methods. He had the great dragon sword soul, which could transform into anything. Wong. He used the great dragon sword soul and the law of death to form an endless yellow spring that enveloped his body. A yellow spring's Tao diagram appeared. He had fought many battles with Acheron Hall, so he was very familiar with their mystiques and nomological laws. At this moment, when the great dragon sword soul was manifested, it was incomparably terrifying. These people would never think that it was him. Thinking of this, he made his move. On the other side, Insu was also surprised when she saw the half-step Saint King attack. It looked like the Violet Spirit Paradise was superior and was about to win. It seemed that he was about to make a move. If it was just a half-step Saint King, he had the confidence to fight. Perhaps he could not get the mysterious map, but he could get the 9-turn flame fruit. Her figure flashed as she prepared to move. But in the next moment, he was stunned, because the sky had cracked open and the endless yellow spring fell. A figure like the god of death descended forcefully. Was someone coming again? Insu was stunned and did not act rashly. At the same time, those who were fighting in front of him all looked up at the sky. The endless yellow spring filled the air, bringing with it a sinister power that made everyone's hair stand on end. Even Sir Lingshu's pupils constricted. There was actually someone here. Who was it? How dare you attack me? We are from the Violet Spirit Paradise. If you don't want to die, hurry up and get lost. He roared angrily. However, there was no response from the sky. Only a yellow spring's Tao diagram flew over and destroyed everything. Sir Lingshu screamed in fright and hurriedly used the cauldron on his body to block. With a clang, he was sent flying, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. Endless cracks appeared on his body. In the next moment, he roared crazily, "Kill him! I want to tear him into pieces." Seeing this, the masked man snorted coldly and waved his hand. Suddenly, 36 large flags flew out and froze the world. Those people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven would definitely not be able to escape. Then, he charged towards the yellow spring. No matter who you are, you can't compete with me. As long as it wasn't a real sage ruler, the other party would definitely die. The masked man's strength was extremely terrifying. He appeared and disappeared unpredictably and instantly arrived inside the yellow spring. The murderous aura around his body blocked everything. In the next moment, he saw a figure inside. "It's you." He stretched out a large hand like a dragon's claw and grabbed over. Lin Xian sneered and directly took out the great spear of destruction. One strike. Endless murderous intent surged between heaven and earth. Then, the masked man's pupils constricted. The aura of a sage ruler. He wanted to escape, but it was already too late. The attack directly pierced through him. Boom. The entire world was blown up. Everyone was stunned, whether it was the people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven or the Violet Spirit Grotto Heaven. They looked up at the sky. Was a sage ruler coming? In the distance, Phoneme was even more so. She felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he did not make a move. She did not expect such a terrifying existence to appear. "Elder Lu, where are you?" Lord Lingshu roared crazily. At this moment, Lin Xian said coldly in the sky, "Are you looking for it?" Then, he threw down a mask. It was the masked man's mask. When Lord Lingshu saw this scene, he was scared out of his wits. The other party was too strong. He actually killed a half-step sage ruler with one move. "Damn it! Retreat. Do you want to leave? The yellow spring is destroyed." Lin Xian sneered. The terrifying yellow spring surged and enveloped all these people. How could these people from the Violet Spirit Grotto Heaven resist? In an instant, they were swallowed up and robbed of their vitality. Even their souls were destroyed. Lord Lingshu roared crazily. There was still an illusion of a large cauldron circling around him, but at this moment, it was dim. He said, "No, you can't kill me. Do you know who I am? My father is the core elder of the Violet Spirit Grotto Heaven. If you kill me, You will die without a doubt. But before he could finish, he was penetrated by a blow. Boom! The illusion of the cauldron shattered, and his soul was destroyed. Kill. The remaining battle servants rushed over crazily. They had already been controlled, so now that their master was destroyed, they naturally wouldn't leave safely. They could only kill the enemy. Lin Xian sighed. I hope you won't be controlled in your next life. After that, he attacked forcefully. He gave these people a blow and let them go through the cycle of reincarnation happily. Were they all destroyed? The people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven were stunned. One had to know that they had almost been killed before, but now the enemy was all destroyed. Great, they were saved. At this moment, Mo Feng's pupil shrank. He saw that in the bloody mist, countless storage rings had all flown over. They were all taken by the figure in the yellow spring. This shocked him. After all, the mysterious map was in there. Of course, he didn't dare to say anything. Lin Xian took the map from the storage ring and put it away. Then, he looked into the distance again, staring at the people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven. Chapter 44:32. The people from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven were shocked. They felt a chill down their spines. That aura was too terrifying. Could it be that he was going to attack them? Thinking of this, they quickly said, "Thank you, Senior, for saving our lives. We are from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven, and we are grateful." Saving their lives? Lin Xian sneered. Then, he waved his finger, and a stream of yellow spring flew out and covered Mo Feng's body. Then, Mo Feng's body turned into white bones. His soul kept roaring, and his eyes were filled with endless fear. Too strong. So strong that he could not resist at all. At the same time, his eyes were filled with despair. Could it be that Lin Xian was going to attack them too? No. You have already killed people from Xiling Grotto Heaven and offended a Grotto Heaven. Do you still want to be enemies with Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven? So what if we are enemies with you? Lin Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent. Then, he shrouded Mo Feng's soul and pulled it in front of him. In the next moment, the endless yellow spring wrapped around the two of them. On the other hand, Lin Xian cast a soul illusion spell and pulled his opponent into the lock of spring and autumn. Damn it, it's you. Finally, Mo Feng saw Lin Xian's face. He was really shocked. Wasn't this his battle servant? How could he attack them? Damn it, you don't have the life and death curse? He was really scared out of his wits. How could it be? How did he get rid of the life and death curse? Lin Xian smiled. That's right, it's me. You people from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven dared to suppress me and hurt my senior brother. Wait for my anger. You are the first. Then, the golden light in his eyes bloomed, and Mo Feng's soul was destroyed. Damn it, let Mo Feng go. Below, Fairy Qingqing and the others were also roaring crazily. The surrounding battle servants quickly moved. Lin Xian immediately formed endless chains of the underworld, locking these people down. Now, there were only 6 battle servants left. If they attacked together, they would be very powerful. However, Lin Xian was someone who could kill a half-step Saint King. These battle servants were not his match at all. In the next moment, he attacked again. The yellow springs diagram cleaved Fairy Qingqing's body apart. Fairy Qingqing's eyes widened. She couldn't believe that he would be killed just like that. There were only 2 people left, and their faces were also filled with fear. Lin Xian really wanted to get rid of these people once and for all. However, he had witnessed the destruction of the Violet Spirit Paradise previously. If these people were all killed, the remaining battle servants wouldn't be able to survive either. At that time, he would have no reason to return to the Thousand Mountain Paradise. Lin Xian didn't want to leave yet. That was because there was still one person who had not been killed. He had to kill Sacred King Xingqian. Furthermore, there were a lot of resources in the Thousand Mountain Cave. Lin Xian planned to use them to break through again. Therefore, Lin Xian was prepared to leave one person behind. With a wave of his hand, he blasted the other man into a bloody mist. Lin Xian left the last person behind. The last person was knocked unconscious. That should be enough, right? Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He put away these people's storage rings. At the same time, he also obtained the 9 Revolution Flame Fruit. This item could help his divine body improve further when the time came. At this moment, his physique was no weaker than a half-step Saint King's. If he improved further, his physique would reach that of a Saint King's. If he encountered a true Saint King, he would be able to fight. At this moment, Lin Xian abruptly turned his head. His gaze seemed to pierce through the heavens and myriad worlds. He saw a figure, and in the distance, Insu, who was still watching the battle, saw this scene and her pupils shrank. His figure flashed, and he quickly fled. The other party was really too strong. Was there anyone else? Lin Xian frowned. He also chased and instantly used the void shield to tear the void apart. Then, he enveloped the other party with a palm. With a boom, heaven and earth shattered, and a figure was torn apart by him. However, Lin Xian furrowed his brows. He realized that only a tail had fallen. A clone? And that person had already disappeared without a trace. Humph! Don't let me meet you, people of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. Lin Xian's eyes bloomed with a biting, cold, murderous intent. In the next moment, he turned around and went back. On the other side, Insu's face became extremely pale. Just now, fortunately, he used a secret technique to dodge the attack. Otherwise, his astral soul would have been destroyed. Damn it! Who was it? How dare they attack the people of the two Grotto Heavens? It was unbelievable. One should know that although they were all young people, ordinary Saint Kings would not dare to attack them. Attacking them would definitely offend them. The Grotto Heavens. The Grotto Heavens were like overlords in this place. Who dared to provoke them? But now, someone really dared to. After returning to the pavilion, the people of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven exclaimed in surprise. Senior sister, you're back. How was the show? They all had smiles on their faces. However, when they saw that Insu's face was pale and her aura was weak, they were all stunned. Senior sister, are you injured? They were extremely nervous. Insu also said that she should leave quickly. He did not know if that mysterious powerhouse would come after him, but he did not dare to stay there any longer. On the other side, it was raining heavily in the sky. Lu Fei opened her eyes and felt the rain around her. She was also stunned. Where was this place? In the next moment, her pupils constricted. In an instant, endless nomological laws flew out and formed 7 shields to quickly defend herself. She remembered that they were attacked by a mysterious powerhouse. When she saw that there was no one around, she breathed a sigh of relief and quickly investigated. She found that other than her, the disciples of the other 4 Grotto Heavens had been killed. Their souls were destroyed. Many of the battle servants had also fallen. However, there were still a few of them. Those people were chained up but did not die. She quickly went forward to investigate and found that there were a total of 7 people. Those people were injured and their auras were very weak. Lin Xian was naturally among them. Lu Fei asked, what happened after that? Where was that mysterious powerhouse? The other battle servants were at a loss. Lin Xian also shook his head. He did not know. He suddenly left and seemed to have gone to chase after someone. So that was the case. Lu Fei heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that she was really lucky. However, when she thought about the deaths of her other companions, her expression turned solemn. Damn it! How dare he attack our 1,000-mountain Grotto Heaven? We will not let him off. Let's go. A scimitar appeared in her hand and directly cut off the Yellow Springs chains. Then, she left a formation mark there and quickly left with Lin Xian and the others. When they returned to 1,000-mountain Grotto Heaven, it immediately caused a commotion. The people of 1,000-mountain Grotto Heaven were furious. Someone actually dared to attack their people. Did Violet Mountain Grotto Heaven have a death wish? They actually dared to attack halfway. Damn it, and that mysterious powerhouse actually attacked the Grotto Heaven. Quickly go and investigate. In an instant, they sent out countless experts to the location marked by the formation. Among them, there were even 2 Sage Kings. These 2 people were both soul experts and could see through everything. Chapter 44-33. Lu Fei, Lin Xian, and the others were also brought back. They wanted to understand the situation. Lin Xian was surprised when he saw this scene. As expected of the paradise, they reacted so quickly. But so what? He didn't leave any clues behind. Even the person who escaped didn't know it was him. Therefore, Lin Xian wasn't worried at all. As expected, those two great Saint Kings both frowned. What this person used was a cold and gloomy law, like the Yellow Springs. He had never heard of such a mysterious person. However, it was useless. No matter how the two Saint Kings searched, they couldn't find any clues. In the end, the two Saint Kings searched the souls of Lu Fei and Lin Xian. Everyone's souls were searched. However, they still didn't find anything. Their faces were gloomy. They could only return empty-handed and send more people to investigate. Lin Xian didn't care. These people would never find out that it was him. He had to think of a way to quickly consume the 9 revolution flame fruit to improve his physique. Just as they were about to return, a cold light flew over from afar. It was a ray of blue light. It carried an extremely terrifying sword in tint and soared into the sky. Heaven and earth were avoided in an instant. The surrounding people looked up one after another. The two Saint Kings' eyes also shone with a cold light. Then, their expressions changed. It was Princess Xueqi. The two Saint Kings smiled. Lin Xian and the others also looked up and saw a woman in a blue dress in the sky. She flew down from the sky. Her face was as cold as ice. When Lu Fei saw her, she quickly bowed and greeted Princess Xueqi. The woman in blue nodded. She then looked at the two saint rulers and spoke. I wonder what the two deacons are doing here. Facing the two Saint Kings, the woman in blue seemed to be very calm. On the contrary, the two Saint Kings seemed to want to curry favor with her. Princess Xueqi, something happened recently. A mysterious expert has killed the people of our 1,000-mountain grotto. Right now, we are sending people to investigate the matter. Did he attack the 1,000-mountain paradise? Xueqi frowned. You must investigate this matter thoroughly. I still have things to do, so I'll head back first. Princess Xueqi, is it because of that formation? One of the Saint Kings asked. Xueqi nodded and said. She had heard that a group of geniuses had been suppressed recently. Among them, some of them seemed to be good at formations. I'll go ask Sacred King Xingchen. For example, he wanted 1 or 2 battle servants. With that, he soared into the sky and disappeared into the void. Who was this person? Was he very powerful? Lin Xian said to a battle servant beside him. That battle servant had come from the valley with him and hadn't died either. He nodded and said, her name was Xueqi, and she was a genius from the 1,000-mountain cave. Her status was not something that these people could compare to. He was a top disciple with terrifying strength. He had already reached the half-step Saint King realm. It was said that he was not far from the true Saint King realm. Furthermore, his father was a powerful elder. Her grandfather was one of the supreme elders of the 1,000-mountain cave. She was like a little princess of the 1,000-mountain cave. No wonder. Whether it was her status or her background, she was already very powerful. No wonder these two Saint Kings were so respectful to her. It seemed that there were still some geniuses in the 1,000-mountain cave. This made Lin Xian feel threatened. However, he didn't know how many people like him there were. Lin Xian investigated for a while but didn't find anything, so he returned. When Lin Xian returned to the 1,000-mountain cave, someone immediately came to see him. Someone is looking for you. One of the battle servants also looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian was puzzled. Oh, what's the matter? Could it be that he had been discovered? It shouldn't be. They didn't see any results from him. The battle servant who brought the message said, I don't know. I only know that Sacred King Xingchen is looking for you. That old guy? Lin Xian frowned, and a trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. He would kill this Saint King sooner or later. But soon, he asked, then take me there. The two of them soared into the sky and flew into the distance. Soon, they landed in a palace. Greetings, Sacred King Xingchen. He has been brought here. The battle servant in front said respectfully. A voice came from inside, asking Lin Xian to come in. Go in. The battle servant opened the door and stood respectfully. He had no intention of going in. Lin Xian nodded and walked in. He saw Sacred King Xingchen at a glance. At this moment, countless stars surrounded him. He looked like a god of the heavenly river. His powerful aura suppressed the surroundings. As expected of a middle-stage Saint Venerable. It was very terrifying. Lin Xian was stunned because he found that sacred King Xing Chun wasn't the only one in the hall. There was another figure standing there as well. It was a woman in blue. She had a beautiful face, but she was incomparably cold. Lin Xian was stunned, because he had seen this person before. Not long ago, it was the legendary outstanding genius, Xueqi. When the woman in blue looked at Lin Xian, she was also stunned. She said, "I've seen you before. You were there when I was investigating the situation outside." Oh? Sacred King Xing Chun was stunned. After asking, he understood. He also said, "There is someone who dares to offend our Thousand Mountain Cave. Don't worry, we will find him sooner or later and tear him into pieces." Well, let's not talk about this first. Ni Xueqi, this is the kid I told you about. He knows how to set up formations. What do you think? If you think his strength is good, you can take him with you. Lin Xian was stunned, but soon he remembered. Previously, the other party said that it seemed that because they were setting up a formation, they needed a few people who knew how to set up formations. It seemed that they had found him. If he could be valued by the other party, Lin Xian would be able to come into contact with more cultivation resources. In this way, it would be very beneficial for his cultivation. Therefore, he was delighted. It seemed that he had to show his talent in formations. At this moment, Xueqi, who was in front, asked, "You know how to set up formations?" Lin Xian, who was proficient in formations, said indifferently. Hearing that, Xueqi snorted coldly. How shameless! Even I don't dare to say that I'm proficient in formations. What qualifications do you have to say that? I want to see how you can be so arrogant. She had seen many battle servants, but this was the first time she had seen such an arrogant one. She formed hand seals with her palms, and a blue ice formation appeared. The entire main hall was freezing cold. It became a world of ice and frost. Apart from sacred King Xing Chun, there was no change. The other places had been frozen. Xueqi's eyes were shining. She wanted to see how this arrogant kid was going to fight against it. If the other party used a divine ability, then she would be very disappointed. Facing the ice formation that covered the sky and covered the earth, Lin Xian did not move. Instead, his eyes flickered. Then, he pointed his finger forward. He pointed his finger at the void. With a cracking sound, the ice that covered the sky stopped. The wind and snow stopped blowing. Then, the endless ice shattered. Chapter 44:34. The Star Saint King was taken aback. Xueqi's pupils shrank. What kind of technique did you use? This isn't a formation, is it? If you use your magical power to break it, I'm afraid I won't be satisfied. Lin Xian said calmly. Princess Xueqi, can't you see that? I attacked the weakest part of your formation. Of course, if you want to use a formation, I'll show it to you. As Lin Xian spoke, he formed a seal with his palms and quickly formed a formation that spread out in all directions. Countless golden crows flew between heaven and earth and formed a golden crow flame formation. Its power wasn't any weaker than the great ice formation from before. Lin Xian was originally a formation genius. In addition, he had learned from the Crimson Dragon. He had also learned from He Shan. His attainments in array formations were truly too powerful. He was definitely at the level of an array formation grandmaster. Ordinary Saint King's formations were inferior to his. Now, Lin Xian was just showing off his skills. However, Xueqi was sure that she would be satisfied. Xueqi felt the power of the flame formation. A smile finally appeared on Xueqi's cold face. The ice around her had melted. Very good. Star Saint King, I want this person. The Star Saint King frowned slightly. He didn't expect Lin Xian's attainments in formations to be so great. He was actually so strong. He felt a trace of danger. This was because this guy had said that he would kill him with his own hands one day. Now that he had followed Princess Xueqi, would he become stronger? However, he quickly sneered and shook his head. So what? A battle servant was still a battle servant. He was a middle-stage Saint King. It wouldn't be long before he faced his next breakthrough. At that time, once he reached the late-stage Saint King, his status and strength would be greatly changed. There would be earth-shattering changes. How could a mere ant possibly contend against him? Therefore, He eliminated the worry in his heart for her sake. Instead, he smiled and said, "Since Xueqi is satisfied, I'm relieved. Lin Xian, from now on, you will follow Princess Xueqi and listen to her orders." Lin Xian looked at the lady in blue in front of him. His eyes flickered, and then he nodded. Xueqi was also surprised. Apart from his high attainments in array formations, his attitude also surprised her. To be honest, none of the battle servants dared to be so arrogant. From the looks of it, the other party seemed even colder than her. However, this made her even more interested. So, she waved her hand and said, "Come with me." As she spoke, she walked outside. In the next moment, endless ice enveloped Lin Xian. His feet turned into an ice sword. The two of them soared into the air and quickly left. This time, he was heading toward Xueqi's mansion. Her residence was not just a cave or a palace. Instead, it was a boundless territory. It was like a small world, incomparably vast. There were all kinds of resources and landforms inside. Lin Xian took a look. This was even scarier than a saint city in the second astral realm. This was just a top disciple. He didn't know about the other core elders. Or how terrifying would the supreme elder be? No wonder countless people wanted to come to the buried Emperor Star. It was indeed a cultivation holy land. After they came down, many people knelt down and bowed. They respectfully welcomed Princess Xueqi's return. Some of these people were originally from the buried Emperor Star. There were also some battle servants who had been suppressed from other worlds. At this moment, they were incomparably respectful. "Get up." Xueqi nodded. These people got up and then looked curiously at Lin Xian. Who was this person? They were astonished. Looking at the battle armor he was wearing, he should be a battle servant. However, there had never been a battle servant who could walk beside Princess Xueqi. "Princess, ninth young Master Yin has been waiting for you for a long time." At this moment, an old man walked over and spoke respectfully. It seemed that he was an old housekeeper. "Ninth young Master Yin?" Xueqi frowned and said, "I don't have time." However, at this moment, a voice sounded from afar. "Xueqi, you're finally back." Immediately after, the boundless nomological laws brought a person over quickly. It was a tall man. He wore a golden battle robe. As he walked, he brought with him a powerful force. This person was also a half-step Saint King. He was very strong. It was obvious that he was a top genius of the Thousand Mountain Paradise. "Xueqi, I heard that you went out to look for the materials for the formation. How did it go? Did you collect all of them? If you didn't collect all of them, I will ask my father to collect them for you. He will definitely be able to collect all of them for you." It was obvious that this person's identity was not ordinary. However, Xueqi said coldly, "There is no need. I already have the materials. If you don't have anything else, don't disturb me." After she spoke, she walked forward. Lin Xian followed after him and glanced at the other party. At this moment, ninth young Master Yin also turned his head and looked over. When he saw Lin Xian, his face sank. There was actually someone who could walk beside Xueqi. Even he didn't receive such treatment. In the next moment, a biting cold killing intent appeared in his eyes and enveloped Lin Xian. Then, he asked, "Xueqi, who is this person?" "He is the battle servant I just brought back. He can help me set up the formation." Xueqi stopped and said coldly. It turned out that he was a battle servant. Ninth young Master Yin heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that he wasn't standing beside Xueqi. How could someone else be qualified to stand beside her? "Lad, pay attention to your eyes. Don't look at what you shouldn't look at. Otherwise, I will make sure that you will never be able to see it." Ninth young Master Yin released a wisp of biting cold killing intent. Lin Xian looked at him and said calmly, "Who do you think you are? How dare you order me around?" When he said this, the people in the surroundings were stunned. Even the old housekeeper was stunned. Was this really a battle servant? Ninth young Master Yin was also stunned. Then, he said, "Aunt, do you know who you are talking to? Believe it or not, I can make you die without a burial ground in an instant." A terrifying aura emanated from his body. It seemed like he was about to attack. However, Xueqi's body flickered and blocked him. "What? Do you dare to touch my man?" If you dare to touch him, don't blame me for attacking you. Ninth young Master Yin was completely enraged when he heard this. He said, Xueqi, are you going to attack me because of a battle servant? He really didn't dare to believe this. Xueqi said in a deep voice, now, I don't welcome you. You should leave quickly. Then, she looked at Lin Xian and said, follow me. Lin Xian nodded his head and looked at ninth young Master Yin with a cold smile. Then, he shrugged his shoulders and walked forward. Ninth young Master Yin was driven mad when he saw the two of them leave. He roared, and the void in the 9 heavens and 10 earths shattered. Lad, do you think that you can act arrogantly in front of me because you have Xueqi's protection? You are too naive. I will let you know the consequences of offending me. Chapter 44:35. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb when they heard this. They knew that this matter wouldn't end so easily. On the other side, Xueqi brought Lin Xian to a courtyard. There wasn't anyone here, and there were countless formations flickering in the surroundings. It was clear that only Xueqi could come here. After she arrived, she turned around and looked at Lin Xian as she spoke coldly. Although your formation surprised me, I'll advise you. Don't be too arrogant, especially that 9th young master. It's best if you don't provoke him in the future. His status isn't any weaker than mine. This was especially true for his grandfather, who was also a Grand Elder. Do you know what cultivation level a Supreme Elder has? I can tell you that he's a great saint. Therefore, it's best if you stay here and don't go out. All right, you should rest for a while. I'll give you a mission later. After she finished speaking, Xueqi walked inside. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard this. A great saint? One had to know that there had never been a great saint in the second astral realm. He only knew that Black Mountain was a remnant soul of a great saint. How strong would a true great sage be? As expected of the buried Emperor Star, there were indeed great saints in these grotto heavens. In the next moment, Lin Xian clenched his fists. He felt his blood boiling. When he tested the heavenly will, his future wasn't just that of a great saint. He would become a heaven illuminator. What kind of scene would that be? Lin Xian looked forward to the day when he would become a heaven illuminator. He rested for 2 days. After 2 days, Xueqi gave him a mission. It was to set up some formations. As for the materials for the formation, they already had enough to provide. Lin Xian took a deep breath and formed hand seals. He started to set up the formations. On the other side, 9th young Master Yin was gnashing his teeth in anger after he returned. He started to investigate Lin Xian's background. When he found out that Lin Xian was just a battle servant who had just arrived here and was suppressed, he was furious. He was completely furious. No one had ever dared to challenge him. A mere battle servant didn't know his place. At this moment, the person beside him indeed mentioned 9th young Master Yin. Although his identity was unknown, it was said that he was proficient in formations. Now, Princess Xueqi was in urgent need of a formation expert. That was why she dared to act so arrogantly. Proficient in formations? Go, find me a few geniuses who are proficient in formations. I want to see, when I can replace him, what right does he have to be arrogant? Yin Zhu's speed was extremely fast. After about 3 days, he really did find 2 people. These 2 people were both holy venerates. However, it was said that the array formations were all very advanced. One of them was a battle servant, while the other was a disciple of the 1,000 Mountain Cave. Greetings to 9th young Master Yin. The 2 of them bowed respectfully. The battle servant was extremely nervous, while the other disciple was extremely excited. He knew how noble 9th young Master Yin's status was. If he could gain the approval of 9th young Master Yin, then his future path of martial arts would be much easier. He would soar into the sky. That battle servant's true form was a python, a demonic beast. His name was Cold Ray. As for the other disciple, his name was Hua Tuesday. 9th young Master Yin personally tested the strength of the 2 people's formations. After that, he nodded slightly. Very good. These 2 people's formations were indeed very powerful. Ordinary formation masters of the older generation were no match for them. If the 2 people he brought with him could help Princess Xueqi, then the lad from before would be useless. If he wanted to kill the lad again, Xueqi would not stop him. When ninth young Master Yin thought of this, a smug smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. He brought the two people with him and walked into the distance. Soon, he came to Xueqi's mansion again. The mansion's old housekeeper informed Xueqi. Xueqi frowned and told him that she was not free. The old housekeeper said, "That's what I said too." However, ninth young Master Yin said that he found two top-notch formation masters. Oh, formation masters? Xueqi's eyes flickered. She thought for a moment and said, "All right, bring them here." Soon, ninth young Master Yin brought the two people with him. Xueqi waved her hand, and countless formations formed a passageway. The three people walked in. Xueqi. A smile appeared at the corners of ninth young Master Yan's mouth. "I know that you need formation masters. That's why I found two for you. What do you think? Why don't you test the strength of the two of them?" Xueqi was holding an ancient book in her hand, and she was studying formations. She said, "I am not free. However, I will find someone to test them for me." She called out Lin Xian's name. Lin Xian walked out of another hall and said, "Who wants me to test them?" When ninth young Master Yin saw Lin Xian, his face became gloomy. He revealed a cold smile. "Xueqi, if the two people I found surpass this lad, then they can stay here. Could it be that they could stay here and help you, while this brat would be a piece of trash? I will take him away. Do you have any objections?" Xueqi said calmly, "I have no objections. I never want good-for-nothings." When Lin Xian heard this, he narrowed his eyes. This woman was really cold. But soon, he laughed. They wanted to replace him? What a joke. He walked over and said, "Ninth young Master Yin, did you find two good-for-nothings? Do you want to challenge me? I advise you to go back quickly. Otherwise, if you lose face, I will not be responsible. Lad, you can be arrogant. I will see how arrogant you can be when you are defeated by formations." Ninth young Master Yin sneered. Then he said, "Han Meng, you go first." Han Meng walked out with a terrifying radiance on his body. "Lad, let's not compete in magical powers or laws. How about we compete in formations?" "As you wish." Lin Xian shrugged. In the next moment, he waved his hand, and countless formations appeared in the sky and formed a formation. It pressed toward the sky. It was a fire formation, and the three golden crows kept roaring in it. They carried a powerful flame power, and it seemed like they wanted to burn everything. Han Meng, who was opposite him, sneered. He kept forming hand seals with his hands. Countless array formations were cast out by him and quickly formed into an array formation. Then, the aura in the sky instantly became cold. It was also an ice formation. Moreover, there were 5 illusions of giant ice pythons in it. It was obvious that this formation was made by a formation master according to his own characteristics. It was very terrifying. Boom. The two formations with completely opposite auras clashed. In an instant, a terrifying aura swept out in all directions. Terrifying flames surged, and terrifying ice froze everything. The 5 giant pythons surrounded the golden crows, and it seemed like they would seal them at any time. When ninth young Master Yin saw this, he sneered. "I thought it was some expert. It turns out that you are so weak that you can't even defeat a battle servant of mine. Xueqi, it seems like you have been deceived by this lad. But don't worry, I'll make sure he dies without a burial place later." Chapter 44:36. Xueqi raised her head and looked forward. Her eyes flashed and her face was expressionless. She had seen the power of Lin Xian's array. Back then, there were more than 3 golden crows in the formation. She knew that Lin Xian was hiding his strength. As expected, the next moment, Lin Xian said, 5 giant pythons, is this all you have? If that was all, the battle would be over. After he finished speaking, he formed another seal with his palms, and the array kept changing. Endless flames swept across. 3 more golden crows appeared next to the 3 golden crows. 6 golden crows circled in the sky like 6 suns. Is the power of the array strengthened? Han Meng was stunned. Is he hiding his strength? Humph. Do you think you are the only one who is hiding your strength? After he finished saying those words, his spirit formation grew stronger again. The 5 giant pythons turned into 7. They outnumbered Lin Xian. Brat, it's useless. You're no match for me. You are no match for me? Lin Xian sneered. You think too highly of yourself. After he finished speaking, the 6 golden crows turned into 9 again. They circled in the sky, and the terrifying flames blasted Lin Xian's ice array apart. Han Meng was sent flying. Countless cracks appeared on his body. He was enveloped by the flames. No, Lord Yinjiu, save me. Han Meng roared crazily. He could feel that he could not withstand the flames. His soul was about to be destroyed. Lord Yinjiu snorted when he saw this. He raised his hand and tried to extinguish the flames. However, he was too late. In an instant, he was turned into ashes. His soul was destroyed. You dare to kill him? Lord Yinjiu shouted angrily. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Lin Xian said calmly, the battle of arrays is very dangerous. If you are not careful, your soul will be destroyed. Don't you know this? How can you find a powerful array master if you don't even know this? Lin Xian looked at him with disdain. Lord Yinjiu gritted his teeth. Damn it, what a piece of trash. He has embarrassed me. He then looked at another person and said, Hua Tu, make your move. Don't hold back at all. Destroy this brat's soul. Hua Tu took a deep breath. To be honest, he was also shocked just now. His array formation was more powerful than the cold light. When he first came here, he was still dismissive. However, after watching the match, he was a little hesitant. Therefore, when he heard Yinjia's words, he did not step forward immediately. What? You don't even listen to me anymore? Do you want to die? The 9th young master felt utterly humiliated when he saw that his other partner was so timid. Lin Xian, however, burst into laughter. Young Master Yinjiu, I've heard that you have an extraordinary status. Why did you find such trash? This doesn't match your status at all. Why don't you go back today? Don't embarrass yourself here. Xueqi, who was beside him, spoke calmly. Yinjiu, have you caused enough trouble? I don't have time to play with you. Yinjiu gritted his teeth. He glared at Hua Tu and said coldly, attack, or I'll kill you right now. Hua Tu was so scared that he almost cried. If he knew that it was so dangerous, he would not have come. However, Lin Xian said, all right, I'll give you a chance. I won't use the array formation just now. You can attack. Hua Tu was surprised when he heard that. Is he serious? The Golden Crow array formation should be his strongest array formation. If he did not use his strongest array formation, he might have a chance to win. Therefore, he said, all right, kid, since you said so, don't blame me for being rude. Don't worry, young master. I'll attack and take him down. The 9th young master smiled. All right, when you succeed, I'll raise your cultivation by 1 level. Really? Hua Tu became even more excited. This time, he had to kill his opponent even if he had to risk his life. In the next moment, he waved his hand and endless saber light formed a heavenly saber array. It was a peerless killing array. A terrifying aura spread in all directions. Hua Tu was very powerful. With this array formation, he could fight against more than 5 experts of the same level. It could be said that he was a genius in array formations. However, it was a pity that he met Lin Xian. When Lin Xian saw the array formation, he smiled. The Golden Crow array formation just now was just a casual attack. Then, he used a 5-element sword array. The power of the 5 laws intertwined and formed a great array formation. Not only did it contain the power of the 5 laws, but it also contained the power of the sword principle. Suddenly, the sky was filled with sword chi. When this sword formation appeared, even Xueqi raised her head, and surprise appeared in her eyes. The power of this array formation was beyond her imagination. Hua Tu was so scared that he cried. What's going on? Isn't his Golden Crow array formation the strongest array formation? Why is this array more terrifying than the Golden Crow array formation? It was too late for him to run away now. He could only grit his teeth. The saber light filled the sky and destroyed everything in its path. However, in the 5-element sword array, it kept shattering. In an instant, the heavenly path array formation was broken. Hua Tu quickly ran away. Boom. When 9th young master Yin saw this, He slapped Hua Tu and turned him into a bloody mist. Hua Tu's soul was destroyed by him. Lad, just wait and see. This matter won't end like this. After he spoke, he turned around and left. It was too shameful. The two formation geniuses that he had found couldn't even withstand a single blow from him. How could he still have the face to stay here? Lin Xian sneered coldly and said, I'll teach you a lesson any time. Then, he took back the 5 elements sword array formation with a disdainful look in his eyes. After 9th young Master Yin left, Xueqi stood up and said, You hid your power before. You didn't say that I couldn't hide my power. Lin Xian turned around and looked at her with a smile. Xueqi frowned when she saw his nonchalant attitude. She opened her mouth once again and said, I told you not to provoke 9th young Master Yin. Didn't you understand what I said? In my opinion, he isn't worth fearing. Lin Xian shook his head. Xueqi's frown deepened. She discovered that he didn't seem like a battle servant. Instead, he seemed more like a supreme genius. Xueqi was even surprised by him. It seemed like there was a layer of mist around him that she couldn't see through. It seemed like she would have to study him carefully after the matter with the formation was over. All right, let's go and set up the formation. Xueqi spoke once again. However, Lin Xian didn't leave. He said coldly, Look at the formation you set up. If I'm not mistaken, you must be going to an ancient land. Xueqi was taken aback when she heard this. How did you know? Lin Xian said that the formation you set up was a method to break other formations. It's obvious that the place you are going to has a more terrifying formation. That's why you are preparing it now. The places that have such terrifying formations are usually passed down from ancient times, or even more terrifying places. It wasn't difficult to guess. Chapter 44:37. What do you suggest? Xueqi asked. She didn't even notice that her attitude had changed. If it were other battle servants, they would have to kneel on the ground if they wanted to talk to her. However, she was now asking for Lin Xian's opinion. Lin Xian said, I can help you set up the array you want. Moreover, I can even accompany you to that place because I can break the formation. However, you must give me some time. Give me 3 months, and give me a quiet place to cultivate. I will probably make a breakthrough. During this process, no one is allowed to disturb me, and no one is allowed to investigate me, including you. If you can do that, I will help you complete the formation and even break that ancient place. Okay, no problem, I promise you. Xueqi recognized Lin Xian's formation skills. She could afford to wait for 3 months. So, she found a place for Lin Xian and told him that no one was allowed to approach it. Even she started to cultivate in seclusion. The place where Lin Xian was at was a mountain range. It was very wide. After he arrived, he set up his formation. Then, he heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he recovered to his peak state. Then, he flipped his palm and took out the 9 revolution inferno fruit. Buzz. He activated his divine body, and terrifying flames surged out of it. They seemed capable of burning the 9 heavens. In the next moment, the 9 revolution inferno fruit sensed the might of the 9 suns' divine fire, and a terrifying aura erupted from it. Its might wasn't any weaker than the 9 suns' divine fire, and it was even stronger. As expected of the legendary divine fruit, Lin Xian was overjoyed, and he started to absorb the fruit's power. 3 months later, Xueqi looked into the distance, and her eyes flickered. It has already been 3 months. Why hasn't that guy done anything? Could it be that he had to continue cultivating? She had gotten some information recently, and it seemed like some changes were about to occur in that place. If other people were attracted, it would be troublesome. This was why she was somewhat anxious. On this day, a rumbling sound suddenly rang out from the front. Then, the sky started to shake, and countless cracks appeared in the sky. It seemed like the ground was about to split open. It formed many large canyons that extended in all directions. At this moment, everyone in the mansion was stunned. They thought that someone was attacking. Countless figures soared into the sky. One soul after another spread out in all directions to investigate. Xueqi was startled. She had sensed that the sound had come from Lin Xian's direction. She then said that everyone should retreat and that everything would be fine. Although the surrounding people were puzzled, they all withdrew their souls. It was no longer probing. The tremors in front of them became more and more intense. In the end, there seemed to be terrifying lightning descending from the sky. One after another, they pierced through the world. At this moment, not only the entire mansion, but even the people of the Thousand Mountain Cave were alarmed. Countless people looked into the distance. That seemed to be a lightning tribulation. Was someone undergoing a tribulation? Princess Xueqi's residence was in that direction. Could it be that she had made a breakthrough? Exclamations could be heard one after another. Even the Saint Kings were alarmed. This was because the lightning calamity this time was extremely terrifying. Moreover, if he broke through again, he would become a true king sage. This was an extremely heaven-defying feat among the young people. This was why many Saint Kings flew over. As for the young geniuses, their eyes were filled with envy. There was even a middle-aged man who laughed heartily. Xueqi, are you going to make a breakthrough? This man was Xueqi's father. He was also a Saint King, and he was extremely powerful. However, when these Saint Kings arrived, they all stopped. This was because they discovered that Xueqi's residence had a formation array activated. It enveloped everything, and no one was allowed to enter. This made Xueqi's father even more certain that she was making a breakthrough. This was why he said that they should just observe the situation calmly. The other Saint Kings didn't dare to disturb him, and they all nodded. Xueqi, who was in the mansion, was also alarmed. The lightning tribulation made her hair stand on end. What is this guy doing? Is he going to make a breakthrough and become a Saint King? However, this shouldn't be the case. Xueqi had investigated Lin Xian before, and he had discovered that Lin Xian's cultivation was only at the intermediate stage of the Saint Venerable realm. Even if this guy wanted to make a breakthrough, he would only be at the late stage of the Saint Venerable realm. How could he attract such a terrifying heavenly tribulation? Xueqi didn't know. After waiting for 9 days, the terrifying lightning tribulation slowly disappeared, and countless large cracks appeared in the sky. A figure walked out of it. It was Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian wore a smile at the corners of his mouth. He was very happy. Previously, he had absorbed the 9 revolution flame fruit, and his divine body had made another breakthrough. Although his cultivation was still at the intermediate stage of the Saint Venerable realm, his current body was already comparable to a Saint King's. This was an extremely terrifying transformation. This meant that ordinary half-step Saint Kings couldn't even break through his defenses. Lin Xian was finally able to contend against a Saint King. As he thought of this, he clenched his fists tightly. The next step was to make a breakthrough in his cultivation. However, before that, he didn't forget what he had promised Xueqi. This was why he walked out. Xueqi opened her eyes wide, and she looked curiously at Lin Xian. This guy's cultivation didn't seem to have changed. Although it was slightly stronger, it didn't make a breakthrough. Then, what was the lightning tribulation before? Xueqi asked curiously, but Lin Xian shook his head and said that it was his secret. Xueqi curled her lips and said, "You are really stingy." Xueqi curled her lips and said, "Okay, I won't ask about your matters, but you must do what you have promised me." Lin Xian nodded and said, "Of course. Now, I will do my best to help you complete the formation, and I will even go with you to that place." "Okay, you can set your mind at ease and set up the formation." After Xueqi spoke, she flew outside. This was because she knew that she was now the center of attention. Countless gazes were looking at her, and there were even many Saint Kings among them. She must go out and explain this matter to them. Princess Xueqi came out. The people outside cried out in alarm. Did Princess Xueqi already make a breakthrough and become a Saint King? The terrifying lightning tribulation in front of her must have been successful. Some people were about to congratulate her, but when they saw that Xueqi was still a half-step Saint King, they were stunned. Xueqi's father was also stunned. What happened? Xueqi, could it be that you failed? Xueqi didn't know what to say, so she said, "Father, this matter isn't like what you think. Forget it, let's talk about it later. Seniors, please go back." After that, all the Saint Kings left, and the mansion became quiet again. As for Lin Xian and Xueqi, they put all their efforts into setting up the formation. After a month, they finally finished setting it up. It was great. With these formations, they would have a higher chance of going to that place. A smile appeared on Xueqi's ice-cold face once again. Even Lin Xian was stunned. At this moment, a flying sword flew over from afar, and there was a formation on it. After Xueqi took it, a sound transmitted from it, and she furrowed her brows and stood up abruptly. Chapter 44:38. Not good. What happened? Lin Xian asked. Xueqi said that there were some changes in that place, and it was discovered. Now, many experts were going there. Since this is the case, let's not waste any time and go, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Xueqi shook her head. I'm afraid that with our current strength, we can't go there. We have to borrow the power of the Grotto Heaven. How about this? Wait for me, and I'll report this to the Grotto Heaven. Then, we can go there together. To be honest, Xueqi was unwilling. After all, she was the one who discovered that place. No one else had discovered it. She wanted to go there alone. That way, she could get as many treasures as she wanted. But now, she couldn't. The experts of the other Grotto Heavens and families had also discovered it. If she went there alone, she wouldn't have any advantages. So, she could only borrow the power of the Grotto Heaven. Although she would get fewer treasures in the end, it would be better than going there alone. But it would be safer. When the Grotto Heaven heard the news, they were shocked. They hurriedly sent people to investigate. Sure enough, they found that it was a strange place. Furthermore, many experts had already begun to move out. The Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven also gathered a group of experts, led by the Sage King. They were ready to go. Among them, Yinjiao was also there. He also brought his powerful battle servant. Besides him, there were also some top geniuses. They all brought their battle servants and prepared to go there. Xueqi only brought Lin Xian with her. A group of people gathered at the square. Then, they sat on huge spirit boats and sage weapons and soared into the sky. They set off towards that strange place. At the Mount Han. Here, ice covered everything. It was very cold and ordinary sages didn't dare to go there, because they would be frozen into ice. On this day, there were countless rays of light that streaked across the sky above the Mount Han. The terrifying aura shone on Zhao Yao. This place was really strange. On a spirit boat in the distance, a figure sighed. Lin Xian and the rest were also in this team. It was the team from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven. They had finally arrived. If I'm not wrong, this should be a place left behind from the Antiquity Age. We've already flipped through the ancient books. It's very likely that the residence or inheritance of an ancient expert is buried here. At the very least, he was a great sage. Was this a cave left behind by a great sage? When the surrounding people heard this, they all took a deep breath. The great sage was an existence that everyone had to look up to. Even their paradise did not have many great sages, and they were all living fossils. He wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. Now, if they could obtain the inheritance of the ancient supreme sage, their martial path would improve once again. Everyone was extremely excited, and even Xueqi was the same. Lin Xian was also surprised, and a smile appeared on his face. An ancient great sage? I hope you don't disappoint me. At this moment, quite a few people had already arrived at Mount Han. These people stood on different sides, exchanging greetings with each other. Then, he became vigilant. After all, they were all competitors after coming here. At this moment, someone below cried out in surprise. Look, more people are coming. They should be from the Thousand Mountain Grotto. Many people looked over, and their gazes were like divine lamps that illuminated the world. As for Lin Xian and the others, their spirit boats continued to descend. When they finally arrived at the bottom, they felt the powerful icy aura around them. Many people gasped. It was really a terrifying place. No wonder ordinary saints did not dare to come here. After the experts from the Thousand Mountain Cave arrived, the other experts arrived as well. Even the people from Xiling Grotto Heaven and Qingqiu Grotto Heaven had come. In addition, there were also people from the Howren Paradise. These people were not weaker than the people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto. So, when they arrived, their powerful auras suppressed the world. In addition to these paradises, there were also some other families. In short, There were many people who came. After all, it was a great sage, and it was something left behind by an ancient great sage. It was enough to tempt these paradises. Lin Xian looked around and found that the powerful families were even more powerful. For example, the Thousand Mountain Grotto had sent 8 Saint Kings. The weakest ones were all in the late stage of the Saint Venerable realm. There were many peak Saint Venerables and half-step Saint Kings, and most of them were of the younger generation. It was easy to imagine how powerful they were. The other paradises were similar to them. However, the Xiling Paradise had sent 4 Saint Kings, which surprised countless people. The people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto looked at the Xiling Paradise and snorted. After all, they knew that the Xiling Paradise had attacked their disciples before. The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven swept their gazes across the entire place. They were the first to receive news of the fall of Serling Su and the others. Later, they went to investigate and even found out about the Thousand Mountain Grotto. However, the Thousand Mountain Grotto did not give in. In the end, when they found out that it was Xiling Paradise who attacked first, the Xiling Paradise had no choice but to put this matter aside for the time being. However, they did not give up on the mysterious person. They felt that someone was targeting them, so this time they sent 10 Saint Kings. It should be foolproof. On their spirit boat, there was also a young man who looked similar to Serling Su. His aura was even more terrifying. Although he was also a half-step Saint King, he was much stronger than Serling Su. His aura was similar to Xue Qi's. He should be at least as strong as Sir Yinjiu. This person was Serling Su's brother, Serling Tian. Feeling the gazes of the Thousand Mountain Grotto, the people from the Xiling Paradise also turned their heads. The leader of the group, an old man, laughed and said, "Friends from the Thousand Mountain Grotto, you are early. You are not slow either." The leader of the Thousand Mountain Grotto group was an elder. Elder Tian Su's cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Saint Venerable realm. On the other side, the leader of the Xiling Paradise group was an elder. He was called Elder Jin Peng, a rare beast of heaven and earth. His strength had also reached the middle stage of the Saint Venerable realm. As he spoke with a smile, he looked at Xue Qi and the others. Then, he smiled and said, "This must be Princess Xue Qi. I heard that she cultivated the Thousand Mountain Grotto's unique skill, the Dark Ice Formula, and she has already reached the 6th level. Now that I have seen her, she is indeed extraordinary." It seemed that the laws in this cold mountain had improved. "Senior, you are too polite," Xue Qi said indifferently. The people from the Xiling Paradise looked over and stared into the distance. Many people's eyes immediately shone with a cold light. This person was the legendary Heaven's favored daughter. Many people had heard of her name, but this was the first time they had seen her. Among them, Serling Tian also saw her. What a peerless fairy! His lips curled into a smile. Chapter 44:39. Of course, he didn't dare to be careless. This was because their elders had praised the other party to remind them that the other party had cultivated the black ice technique, which was a terrifying technique. In this cold land, the other party was extremely powerful. They had to be extremely careful if they encountered him. The people from the other grotto heavens also came over to greet each other. They were all investigating the other party's information. At this moment, a beam of light streaked across the sky from afar. It was a demonic beast with its wings spread out. There were 2 people standing on top of it. They were like gods and demons. They were extremely powerful and even stopped above the grotto heavens. This shocked the experts from the surrounding families. Who are they? They didn't even put the grotto heavens in their eyes. Are they from another grotto heaven? They were all discussing this. The people from the 4 grotto heavens also frowned and looked up at the sky. In the next moment, their pupils shrank. The Sage King elders also flew up into the sky. He even bowed respectfully to the 3 figures when he arrived at the top. This shocked countless people. They were all dumbfounded. The grotto heavens were the overlords of this land. There were actually people who could make them so afraid. Then, who are these 2 people? Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and looked up at the sky. It was a man and a woman. Their bodies shone with boundless light, which blocked all soul detection. It was obvious that they had treasures on them. However, These two people looked very young, but they were both sage kings. This was really shocking. However, it wasn't enough for the elders of the grotto heavens to curry favor with them. At this moment, Xueqi said that she didn't expect the people from the Misty Peak to come. The Misty Peak? Lin Xian frowned. What is this? Is it more powerful than the grotto heavens? He asked in a low voice. Xueqi glanced at him and said, You just came here, so you might not know about our land. The grotto heavens were the overlords. There were a total of 6 grotto heavens. In addition, there were many powerful families. These families were mostly from the 10,000 ancient races. However, their strength was still weaker than the grotto heavens. This was because the experts of these families had joined the grotto heavens. Therefore, the grotto heavens were stronger. The strength of the 6 grotto heavens was about the same. Above the 6 grotto heavens, there was another supreme existence, and that was the ethereal peak. If the grotto heavens were the sacred cultivation grounds of the 10,000 ancient races, then the ethereal peak would be the sacred cultivation grounds of the grotto heavens. Hearing this, Lin Xian understood. It must be an even more terrifying existence. As expected of the buried Emperor Star, even its heavenly grotto heaven was so terrifying. How terrifying was the Misty Peak? Xueqi didn't mention any specific information, so it seemed like Lin Xian would have to make his own inquiries in the future. However, he did learn another piece of news, which was that many geniuses from the heavens had joined the Misty Peak too. One of Xueqi's goals was to join the Misty Peak. Misty Peak? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. If he could join them, would he be able to break free from the suppression of the heavenly abode? At that time, he would descend as a disciple of Ethereal Peak. When he thought about it, those grotto heavens wouldn't dare to make a move against him. Even if he wanted to kill the Star Sage King, it would be even easier. As if she had guessed Lin Xian's thoughts, Xueqi said, Don't think about it for now. You should stay by my side and help me set up the array. Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders and didn't say anything. Indeed, the most important thing now was to increase his cultivation. The others were also whispering among themselves. For example, 9th Young Master Yin, Young Master Ling Tian, and the others' eyes shone with a sharp light. Their goal was to join the Misty Peak and become a supreme existence. In the sky, the elders who had left also returned. The two figures stood in the sky and didn't seem to have any intention of coming down. As for the other 4 grotto heavens, they gathered together and discussed. All right, let's begin. Everyone took a deep breath. They knew that they would enter Mount Han next. Suddenly, Lin Xian was stunned. His eyes shone with a sharp light that pierced through the void. Xueqi, who was beside him, was shocked. Even 9th Young Master Yin frowned. Many people looked over and Xueqi frowned. Are you crazy? What are you trying to do? The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared. However, the killing intent in his eyes didn't disappear. He stared at the Violet Spirit Grotto. To be exact, he was staring at Young Master Ling Tian. There were many figures beside Young Master Ling Tian. They were all battle servants. These battle servants wore long purple robes. Their faces were covered by cloaks and couldn't be seen clearly. However, Lin Xian still took a glance at them. He realized that there was one person among them whom he was extremely familiar with. It was Fu Hongye. Fu Hongye was caught as well. It seemed like she had also become a battle servant. Damn it, he couldn't stand it. If Fu Hongye was also captured, what about the others in Peerless City? Would they also become battle servants? He looked around and checked. When he found that the others weren't around, he calmed down a little. Of course, this didn't mean that the others had run away. Perhaps they didn't participate in this mission. Fu Hongye's face was expressionless. She didn't respond to Lin Xian's gaze. Young Master Ling Tian, who was in front of her, frowned slightly. He also turned around and looked at the battle servant. In the next moment, he sneered coldly. He saw that a battle servant was releasing killing intent toward him. He was stunned. A mere battle servant was like an ant in his eyes. He really didn't know what was good for him. If it wasn't for Xueqi standing next to him, he would have already attacked and killed him. Who is that person? Lin Xian asked. Xueqi looked ahead and said calmly, Young Master Ling Tian has a younger brother called Young Master Ling Su. He's the one who tried to kill you. Is it him? Lin Xian remembered. It was that person's elder brother. Great. He wouldn't let him go. If he had the chance, he would send him to hell. Lin Xian removed the killing intent in his eyes and took a deep breath. He started to wait patiently. The Saint Kings of the 4 great grotto heavens started to work together to attack the seal. So many Saint Kings worked together and took out Saint artifacts. Some even took out arrays. They started to crack it. It was really earth-shattering. Even so, it took them a whole day to crack it. A big crack appeared in front of them. It spread out like a giant beast. The people in the surroundings all took a deep breath. Have they finally cracked it? Great. They can enter. The people from Xiling Grotto Heaven took the lead and entered. The people from Howren Grotto Heaven and Qingqiu Grotto Heaven also entered. The people from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven also took a deep breath and flew in. Behind them were the 2 people from Misty Peak, who were standing in the sky. Then, it was the people from the other clans and powerhouses. These people flew forward with uneasy hearts. Chapter 4440. They had thought that they would find all kinds of cavern residences and palaces inside, but they found that it wasn't the case. After they entered, they found that there was a big river in front of them, which blocked all their paths. Moreover, it was just like the sea, which stretched as far as the eye could see. What was so bad about it? They could just fly. A strong cultivator soared into the sky and flew forward. The others also prepared to leave. However, at this moment, the situation changed. The strong cultivator had just left and arrived above the big river when countless frost appeared on his body, and he turned into an ice cube. He fell into the river and disappeared. This scene stunned everyone. Even those who were about to move stopped in their tracks. The strong cultivator was a half-step Saint King. He was very powerful. However, he died in an instant. After waiting for a long time, they still didn't see that person appear. So, they concluded that he must have died. At this moment, everyone's scalps went numb. They didn't expect that it would be so dangerous when they just entered. The Saint Kings also frowned. Did they have to leave? They looked at each other, and one of the Saint Kings even turned into a clone and flew out. In the end, he was frozen by countless ice cubes. Everyone was shocked by this scene. Even Saint Kings couldn't pass? Many people were worried about how to cross. Even the 2 people from the ethereal peak frowned slightly. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked ahead. He found that there were countless ice cubes in the river. It was obvious that someone had come here before, and they all died here. His heavenly secret divine eyes also found that there seemed to be extremely terrifying laws in the surroundings. They were affecting this space. It was obvious that he couldn't take risks easily. If he had come alone, he would have been able to use his 9-yang divine body to defend himself. However, he didn't do so now. Moreover, a smile soon appeared on his face. It's here. Xueqi was stunned. She didn't know what Lin Xian meant by this. However, she also found out after a short while. Many lotuses floated over from the river in the distance. Those lotuses were blue, and they were made of frost. There were 10,000 lotuses, and they were about the size of a door. Those lotuses floated over from afar, and the people in the surroundings started talking. Could it be that they could only leave by using lotuses? Someone took a deep breath and jumped up. Sure enough, in the next moment, it continued to float into the distance along with the lotus. This scene caused everyone to exclaim in surprise. Sure enough, these people began to move. Let's move as well. The people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven took a deep breath. Among them, 9th Young Master Yin led a few battle servants to a lotus. He turned to look at Xueqi and said with a smile, Xueqi, come with me. I will protect you. However, Xueqi shook her head and said, there's no need. She and Lin Xian went to a lotus. Seeing this, 9th Young Master Yan's face turned cold again. Damn it, he actually didn't give him any face. He stared at Lin Xian, his eyes brimming with killing intent. If he had the chance, he would definitely kill this brat. In fact, he was not the only one who was surprised. The others were also surprised. This was because Xueqi was a peerless fairy, and she attracted countless gazes. Moreover, The other party's face was like an iceberg, as if no one could get close to him. However, at that moment, he had brought someone with him. Furthermore, that person was a young man. It was impossible for the crowd not to be surprised. When they saw that the young man was wearing the armor of a battle disciple, they were all shocked. They knew that he should be Xueqi's battle servant. Even so, many people were still envious of him. Some people's eyes even brimmed with killing intent. Xueqi didn't care about these gazes. Lin Xian shook his head helplessly. He had made so many enemies for no reason. However, so what? He had been fighting all this time, and he had never been afraid. Moreover, these grotto heavens were too hateful. His friends and fellow disciples were all suppressed and turned into puppets. Even if these people didn't attack him, he wouldn't let these grotto heavens go. One day, he would trample these grotto heavens under his feet. When they reached the lotus started to walk on the water's surface. Lin Xian didn't know where they were drifting to. Moreover, he quickly discovered that these lotuses' trajectories were different. This meant that they were all different from each other. It seemed like these lotuses had separated all the large groups. This meant that the danger they faced had increased by several folds. Of course, Lin Xian didn't care about this at all. This was because they could use their advantage to their advantage. In the end, they reached the opposite shore. Then, they walked over. The surrounding aura was somewhat gloomy, and snowflakes appeared in the sky once again. An ice-cold aura pervaded the air, and as they walked, their feet were covered with frost. It seemed like even the laws were about to freeze. Xueqi didn't care about this at all. After all, the mysterious ice art that she cultivated was a peerless ice magical ability. The frost made her feel even more powerful. She was slightly worried about Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian was just a middle-stage holy venerate. Even a late-stage holy venerate would have to use his full power here. This was why she shot out frost, intending to envelop Lin Xian and relieve some of the pressure on him. However, she discovered that Lin Xian was just standing there calmly. There wasn't even a speck of frost on his body. It seemed like he wasn't affected at all. This surprised her. What's going on with this guy's body? Why isn't it affected at all? However, she still enveloped Lin Xian with a layer of laws. Lin Xian was taken aback. He looked at her and thanked her. Although this guy was ice-cold, he didn't seem like a bad person. Xueqi turned her head and said calmly, "Don't think too much about it. I just don't want you to freeze to death so quickly. After all, your formation is useful to me." Lin Xian shook his head. It was really cold. They continued to walk forward, and there were a few figures nearby who also walked up to them. When they saw that it was Xueqi, they wanted to invite her to form a team and explore together. However, Xueqi shook her head and rejected them. The others were helpless, and they could only continue on their own. After a short while, the sound of fighting could be heard ahead of them. This surprised Lin Xian and the others. The two of them also walked over. Soon after, they saw that the people in front of them had been stopped. There was a black-robed man in front of them, and his aura was extremely terrifying. It was a holy king. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. No, it wasn't a holy king. The other party was a half-step holy king, but he was holding a holy king weapon. What did this guy want to do? The black-robed man in front of them raised his head and looked at Lin Xian. Soon after, he laughed and said, "More people have come. Another one is a peerless fairy. It seems like my luck is really good. Now, hand over your storage rings obediently. I can give you a chance to live." Hateful. What kind of joke was this? The people in front of them were instantly angered. Their storage rings were basically all of their cultivation resources. Moreover, they couldn't hand over their secrets. "You've gone too far. Don't you know who we are? You have offended us. Even if you get them, you will surely die if you go out." The black-robed man laughed. "Do you know who I am? I have concealed my aura. Do you know who I am?" Chapter 44-41. As for this saint artifact, don't even think about it. This saint artifact has never appeared before, so you don't know my identity. Even if I kill you here, the grotto heavens and families behind you won't be able to find me. Hurry up, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. After 10 seconds, I don't mind doing it myself. After he finished speaking, the Saint King weapon in his hand released an extremely terrifying aura. The expressions of those people in front of him became extremely ugly. Damn it, he's going too far. Everyone, let's attack together. As one of them roared, the 6 of them attacked together. Heaven and earth rumbled, and a terrifying aura tore the void apart. It made everyone's scalps go numb. However, the black-robed man in front of them sneered when he saw this scene. They were overestimating themselves. He waved the Saint King weapon in his hand. It was a long saber, and as the saber slashed down, the 6 figures were all sent flying, and their bodies were split open. One strike was enough to injure 6 experts. One could imagine how powerful this person was. Of course, he relied on the Saint King weapon in his hand, but no matter what it was useless. No one could compete with him. Boom! Another strike fell, and the 6 people's bodies, which had just healed, were sent flying again, vomiting blood. The black-robed man said, "Did you see that? You'd better obediently hand over your storage rings. Otherwise, you'll end up worse than him." The expressions of the other people became even uglier. However, at this moment, a cold snort sounded. "You're too arrogant. Do you really think that you can sweep away everything with a Saint artifact?" As soon as those words came out, the surrounding people were stunned. The black-robed man also raised his head and looked forward. Soon, he sneered. He didn't expect that there would be a peerless fairy here. The others also turned their heads. In the next moment, they exclaimed in surprise. "That must be the genius of the Thousand-Mountain Grotto Heaven, Xueqi." Yes, they didn't expect that she would also come here. Could it be that she also has a Saint King weapon in her hand? That's possible. It's said that her identity is not ordinary. The people started to discuss. The black-robed man was also stunned. "So, you're the legendary Xueqi. Now that I've seen you, you're even more beautiful than the rumors say. You want to compete with me? Do you have a Saint King weapon? If you do, I can let you go. If you don't blame me." The black-robed man sneered. So what if the other party's identity was not ordinary? If he made a move here, the Thousand-Mountain Grotto Heaven would not be able to find him. "I don't have a Saint King weapon, but I don't need a saint weapon to deal with you." Xueqi snorted coldly. Despair appeared in the eyes of the others once again. The black-robed man, on the other hand, laughed loudly. "No sacred artifacts. You still dare to be arrogant in front of me? You're too naive. Where do you think this is? Thousand Mountain Cave? Here, no one will give in to you." At this moment, the black-robed man's laughter suddenly stopped, as if he had been caught by someone. This was because a faint voice rang out. She was right. The Sage King's weapon was powerful, but it was not invincible. "I don't need a Saint King weapon to kill you." What? Everyone was stunned and turned to look. However, when they saw that it was only a battle servant who was only at the middle stage of the Saint Venerable realm, they were all stunned. How could such a person dare to speak such arrogant words? His cultivation was probably the lowest among all of them. The black-robed man also stared at Lin Xian. "So it was just an ant. Since you don't know what's good for you, I'll send you on your way first." He walked forward. The others retreated. They looked at Lin Xian and shook their heads. However, no one helped him, because they were not confident that they could fight against the black-robed man. Lin Xian looked at the black-robed man and smiled. He said, "Are you sure you want to attack me? You can't bear the consequences." "Stupid brat, don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death." Facing Lin Xian, the black-robed man did not use a Saint King weapon. Instead, he directly stretched out a palm and slapped forward. In his opinion, there was no need to use a Saint King weapon to kill an ant. The others also cried out in surprise. They all felt that Lin Xian was dead for sure. However, in the next moment, a roar sounded, and a bloody mist filled the sky. Everyone was stupefied. Was that brat dead? They looked over and realized that he was not. The black-robed man was the one who was injured. Half of the black-robed man's body turned into a bloody mist. Lin Xian stood there with a cold smile on his face. How is this possible? What just happened? They were all stunned. The black-robed man was injured. The black-robed man's pupils contracted. He could not believe what had just happened. He roared crazily, and the bloody mist that filled the sky condensed back into his body. Hateful brat, I didn't expect you to be a genius. You dared to plot against me. You should die. This time, he used a Saint King weapon in his hand. As the blade slashed down, the wind and clouds swirled. Even Xueqi's eyelids twitched. She could not help but want to attack. However, she discovered that Lin Xian was extremely fast, and he managed to dodge the blade. At the same time, he stomped his foot, and countless arrays appeared in the surroundings, enveloping the whole sky. Arrays? Can you contend against me? The black-robed man snorted disdainfully. Lin Xian did not intend to continue attacking. Instead, he stood there and said, "Do you want to live? If you want to live, then listen to me and cooperate with the arrays." What? A battle servant dares to order us around? The people in the surroundings were infuriated. Those who were able to come here were all top-notch geniuses or experts. Normally, they would laugh arrogantly in an area. However, they were now being ordered around by someone, and they could not tolerate it. However, Lin Xian said, "I will give you a chance. If you refuse, then don't blame me for not saving you." The people in the surroundings sneered. What a joke. They wanted to escape. They wanted to help this battle servant. This was why some people wanted to escape. Who wanted to escape? The black-robed man shouted angrily, and he slashed two people in half with his blade. Their souls were destroyed. The people in the surroundings were frightened, and they did not dare to escape. The black-robed man was still so powerful. However, Lin Xian said, "You have already lost your best chance. Since you don't want to attack, then I will do it myself." He weaved hand signs, and a terrifying array surged out. 36 golden crows soared into the sky and shone brightly. They turned into a peerless sun that shone in all directions. Their terrifying aura melted the ice and snow in the whole world. When the black-robed man sensed this, he roared crazily and waved his blade to contend against it. His arm was numb. He realized that the other party's array was really powerful. Even if he could reach the other party was extremely fast, and he seemed to know spatial techniques. He could not hurt the other party at all. Therefore, he roared, "Kid, I will let the two of you go, and I will apologize for what happened before. How about we stop here? You go your way, and I will move my hands." Lin Xian said, "An apology is not sincere enough. I want half of your storage ring." Chapter 44-42. The black-robed man was stunned, but he soon understood. He nodded. "All right, I'll consider myself unlucky. I've kicked an iron plate. I'll give you half of the storage ring." Lin Xian withdrew the array formation, while the black-robed man waved his hand and looked at the others. "Since you don't want to hand it over, don't blame me for taking action." He attacked the other people. The rest of the people were stunned and shouted at Lin Xian, "Hero, save our lives." "That's right, young master. I beg you to help." Lin Xian sneered. "Didn't you guys look down on me and think that I'm a battle servant? Aren't you high and mighty and disdainful of helping me? What, now you're begging me, and I said it. I only gave you one chance. Since you didn't cherish it, then don't blame me." Everyone fell into despair. Some people gritted their teeth. They had already missed the opportunity once, so they didn't want to miss it again. Therefore, they directly threw their storage rings over. He immediately ran away. There were still some people who hesitated, and they were directly chopped into a bloody mist. In an instant, those people either fled or died. There were only 3 people left: the black-cloaked man, Xueqi, and Lin Xian. Xueqi was startled. She hadn't expected that Lin Xian would possess such an ability. The black-robed man took out half of his storage ring and gave it to Lin Xian. "This is for you, my friend. How should I address you?" Lin Xian took the storage ring and said, "You don't need to know who I am, because we are not the same kind of people. I'll let you off this time, but you'd better not meet me in the future. Otherwise, I won't be able to settle the matter with just this storage ring." After Lin Xian spoke, he turned around and said to Xueqi, "Let's go." Xueqi nodded and walked over. The two of them then flew forward. The black-robed man stared at Lin Fan's back as he left. What an arrogant brat. However, the opponent's formation was extremely powerful. He had no choice but to look for other prey. After Lin Xian and Xueqi left, he asked Xueqi where they were going. Xueqi had told him to look for a place where the power of ice and snow was the most terrifying. There should be treasures there. He used his laws of ice and snow to sense it. Then, he said, "Let's go over there." The two of them rose into the air and flew into the distance. In front of them was an ice canyon, and beside the canyon were two ice sunflowers. These weren't ordinary sunflowers. They were two demonic beasts that were extremely terrifying. Judging from his aura, he was already a half-step holy king. At this moment, several holy venerates stood in the surroundings, preparing to attack the ice sunflower. Soon, someone walked out and used a peerless divine ability from the university. Terrifying light shone brightly, shrouding heaven and earth as it charged forward. However, the ice sunflower continued to sway, and the sunflower seeds flew out. Like flying swords of ice, they pierced through everything. It pierced through that person's divine ability. Not only that, but that person also vomited blood and was sent flying, several bloody holes appearing on his body. His body was sealed in ice, and he couldn't even use his strength. Seeing this scene, the others were also shocked. However, another person said, "Let's join hands." These people joined forces and prepared to step forward. Stop it. However, they had still underestimated the two sunflowers. These two ice sunflowers were truly too powerful. Their sunflower seeds seemed to have turned into tens of thousands of flying swords that swept through everything. Unexpectedly, half of the people were killed, while the other half were injured, and they quickly retreated. Damn it! The treasure was right in front of them, but they couldn't go over. It was too hateful. These people fled far away, gnashing their teeth. They were unwilling to accept this. Suddenly, they were taken aback, because they discovered that two more rays of light were flying toward them. Someone was coming. However, what could two people do? In this place, these two ice sunflowers were too terrifying, and they needed at least 4 half-step holy kings to suppress them. Xueqi looked ahead and spoke. That's right, there was a powerful ice element energy there. Moreover, there was someone else. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked ahead. Soon, he saw that a great battle seemed to have taken place in front of them. The two people were very fast, and after they descended, they saw many traces of a battle on the ground. There was also some blood. It was holy blood, which was extremely terrifying. The two ice sunflowers in front of them kept dancing. They even let out ice-cold laughter, which made people's hair stand on end. Foolish humans, you want to contend against us? You really don't know the meaning of death. Hurry up and get lost. The treasure here isn't something you can get. These two ice sunflowers spoke in human language. They were so arrogant. They were just two demonic beasts, yet they dared to be so arrogant. Before Lin Xian could say anything, another cold laughter echoed from the sky. Shortly after, 3 people descended. It was a young man who had terrifying purple lightning on his body. At the same time, there were 2 battle servants behind him, and they were also extremely terrifying. The 3 of them were unexpectedly half-step holy kings, which was really shocking. That's great. When the people in the distance saw this scene, they all cried out in surprise. Including Xueqi, there were 4 half-step holy kings. Perhaps they could suppress the 2 ice sunflowers in front of them. This fairy must be Princess Xueqi. I'm from the Purple Spirit Cave, and my name is Zile. Why don't we join hands and kill these 2 demonic beasts? Then, we can take the treasure together. What do you think? The other people also wanted to join hands, but Zile just snorted coldly and said, "Trash like you. Get lost?" He waved his hand, and a bolt of lightning flew out, sending the 3 people flying. The other people were also frightened, and they quickly retreated. This person was too strong, and he was too arrogant. He didn't even give them a chance. He was really hateful. Xueqi frowned slightly, while Lin Xian said, "We won't join hands with you." What did you say? Zile was taken aback, and he stared at Lin Xian. He laughed and said, "You are just a battle servant. What right do you have to speak here?" Lin Xian sneered coldly. Your purple spirit cave attacked our Thousand Mountain cave, and now you want to join hands with us? What a joke. Sure enough, Shueqi also said that. That's right, I won't join hands with you. Zilei frowned. Princess Shueqi, you better think clearly. How can you suppress these two demonic beasts with your own strength? Even if you are also an ice element martial artist, so are your opponents. You don't have any advantage. Moreover, you actually listened to a battle servant's suggestion. How disappointing. Don't you think it's ridiculous? If you want to take the treasure, you can only join hands with me. Lin Xian's face darkened, and he said coldly, Who do you think you are? Hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, I will kill you. What did you say? Zilei was furious. He had never been challenged by a battle servant before. He immediately said to a battle servant beside him, Go and chop off his head. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. A battle servant beside him walked over. He was also a half-step holy king, and he held a long spear in his hand. He was also an ice element martial artist. The sky was filled with ice, and it kept condensing. Chapter 44-43. You dare to attack my people? Have you thought about the consequences of your actions? Shueqi furrowed her brows, and an ice-cold glint appeared in her eyes. Princess Shueqi, our statuses aren't ordinary. There's no need for you to get angry over a battle servant. As he spoke, the saint with the long spear had already attacked. His spear pierced through like an ice dragon. The surrounding people exclaimed. They all knew that Lin Xian was dead for sure. As for Lin Xian, he took a step forward. He sent a slap over. It was as if his palm had transformed into a sun that blossomed between the heavens and earth. The ice and snow that filled the sky disappeared. Boom! After one strike, the spear shattered. The half-step Saint King battle servant also spat out blood and flew back. His body was torn apart. His body was enveloped in divine flames, which burned continuously. The surrounding people were all stunned. He had killed a half-step Saint King with one strike. This kid's strength was too terrifying. Purple Thunder was also stunned, unable to react for a long time. How could there be such a terrifying expert? In the next moment, an extremely cold light burst out from his eyes. Damn it! No wonder Shueqi had such an extraordinary status, yet she only brought one person with her. It turned out that she was a top-notch expert. It seems like I've still underestimated you. Princess Shueqi, you really have great means. But are you really not going to join forces with me? Shueqi was also surprised. She knew that Lin Xian was powerful, but she assumed that if he wanted to defeat a half-step Saint King, he would have to rely on a formation. But who would have thought that the other party would be able to end the battle with a single palm strike? The strength of his physique was beyond her expectations. I told you to get lost. Did you not understand? Lin Xian also walked out and stared at Purple Thunder. Since he wasn't leaving, then he might as well stay. He took a picture in front of him. Purple Thunder's pupils shrank. You're courting death. So what if the other party was strong? He was only a battle servant. Would he dare to make a move against him? Let's kill him together. Zilei roared as lightning surged from his body. The other person beside him also attacked. He turned into a gust of wind and tore through the void as he charged towards Lin Xian. Two half-step Saint Kings attacked together. Their power was terrifying. The surrounding people were all stunned. Unexpectedly, the people from the two grotto heavens came in and started fighting. In the distance, the two sunflowers coldly laughed. Foolish humans, they were actually fighting here. When the time came, they would be able to reap the benefits. The two men sneered. Shueqi also wanted to help him, but she discovered that the battle had ended very quickly. That was because Lin Xian's punch had sent that Saint King flying backwards, blood spurting from his mouth. His body was torn apart. Then, Lin Xian kicked out. There were endless flames on it. Other than that, there was no other power of law. It was the power of the divine body. On the other side, the purple lightning formed into a lightning spear. It was unparalleled, and the terrifying power of lightning carried a destructive aura as it pierced through the heavens and earth. It collided with Lin Xian's right leg. Everyone began to worry about Lin Xian. However, this time, The crowd discovered that nothing had happened. Lin Xian was unharmed, while Zilei was sent flying backwards. His body was also torn apart, and he spurted out a large mouthful of blood. Lin Xian's figure swayed, and he stepped on the other party's body, crushing him beneath his feet. Do you think that you are superior and can look down on me? In my opinion, you are the foolish one. Shock. Everyone was stunned. What is going on with this guy's body? Xueqi also opened her eyes wide. She couldn't believe it. Zilei's mind went blank, and he roared crazily. This is impossible. I don't believe it. The three of them couldn't block this guy's attack? He was especially shocked, as he was being stepped on by someone. Damn, lad. You dare to attack me? Do you know who I am? Before he could finish his words, Lin Xian slapped out with his palm, shattering his face. Who are you? I don't care who you are. Today, even if you are a Saint King, you will still die. Boom. After he spoke, he stomped his foot, and his boundless divine body's power blasted him into pieces. Even his soul was destroyed in an instant. What did I do? What did I do? I unexpectedly killed a paradise's genius. Did I go crazy? They couldn't even withstand a single blow. Lin Xian sneered coldly, and he took their storage rings and weapons. Then, he shook his head. His current body was at the Saint King realm, and no matter how strong these half-step Saint Kings were, they couldn't contend against him. They couldn't even block a single strike from him. Did you just kill him? Xueqi was also surprised. Lin Xian said, I already told him to get lost, but he didn't want to leave. He wanted to die, so I sent him to hell. Xueqi was surprised. She felt like he wasn't a battle servant, but a top-notch genius. He was like the supreme existences of the Misty Peak, who could look down on everything. Come to think of it, the other party should also be an unparalleled genius in other worlds. However, it was a pity that he was suppressed by their paradise after he came here. No matter how strong he was, his future would be bleak. Lin Xian didn't think so, and he didn't say anything. He just said, okay, let's deal with these two demonic beasts. After he spoke, he walked forward, and a ball of 9 suns' divine fire appeared in his hand. It was like a golden crow, and it kept revolving around him. The 2 sunflowers were also taken aback. This human is so strong, and his body seems to have surpassed that of a half-step Saint King's. The 2 sunflowers discussed this, and they snorted coldly. Lad, you are really strong, but you are still not a match for us here. Terrifying ice and frost emanated from their bodies, and the 2 sunflowers started becoming bigger and bigger. They turned into 2 giant creatures, and their terrifying auras became even stronger. Darn it, these 2 sunflowers were hiding their power. If they joined hands, they would be as strong as a Saint King. The people in the distance fell into despair once again. Even Xueqi wore a grave expression. Lin Xian said, It seems like our formation is about to appear. Let's attack. Xueqi nodded. Then, the 2 sunflowers started forming hand signs and setting up a formation around them. Their spell formations flew out. It was a heavenly steel formation, and it was specially used for suppression. After the formation was set up, 49 heavenly steel illusions appeared in the sky, and they suppressed everything. Die! The 2 sunflowers shouted angrily, and they waved their giant bodies, which seemed like saint artifacts, and they swept all around them. At the same time, they shot out sunflower seeds, which filled the sky, and they turned into tens of thousands of flying swords. The people in the surroundings still wanted to approach them, but they were instantly sent flying. They spat out mouthfuls of blood. It was impossible for them to participate in a battle of this level. On the other side, in the boundless snowy mountain, several people were surrounded by terrifying purple light, and it seemed like lightning could penetrate everything. After killing several demonic beasts in front of them, one of them furrowed his brows. It was a middle-aged man, and he waved his hand and took out a badge. At this moment, cracks appeared on the badge. Chapter 44:44. When the others saw this scene, they frowned. Purple Lay was actually killed? Damn it! Who did this to him? The middle-aged man was a Saint King. He formed a seal with his palms, and endless laws flew into the token. The broken token started to burn, and then turned into a blurry image. At the same time, purple light flashed in his eyes. He saw a figure surrounded by golden flames punching out, destroying everything in its path. Then, he said, it was this person who did it. He should be a fire elemental saint. Moreover, he already knew the direction of Purple Lay's death. Those people shouldn't have gone too far. Let's go quickly. This was a team of 5 people, and the leader was the Saint King. They quickly flew into the distance, while the others wore cold expressions. However, they dared to attack the people of the Violet Spirit Paradise. They would definitely make them wish they were dead. On the other side, Lin Xian and Xueqi were fighting the 2 sunflowers. One had to admit that the 2 sunflowers were really powerful. The flying swords they shot out were extremely terrifying, and there were so many of them that they seemed endless. What surprised Lin Xian even more was that the power of the 2 sunflowers didn't weaken. Instead, it continued to increase. It seemed that there was something that was providing them with power. He activated his heavenly secret divine eyes as he set up the formation. Soon, he discovered that there was a stone in the canyon. The stone was as big as a millstone, and after the stone was broken, it formed many pieces. The biggest one was as big as a bowl, while the rest were as big as a fist, and some were as big as an apple. In short, they were scattered in a certain area. At this moment, the sunflowers were absorbing the power of the stone. At this moment, Xueqi frowned and said, "If I'm not wrong, there's definitely an Ice Soul Divine Crystal here. The 2 sunflowers must be borrowing the power of the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. Hurry up and find it." The Ice Soul Divine Crystal was a supreme treasure for an ice elemental saint. Lin Xian was also surprised when he heard that. He nodded. He naturally knew where it was. However, he didn't say it immediately. Instead, he secretly transmitted his voice to Little White. Back then, Little White, the Crimson Dragon, and the Toad came together. Whitey followed beside him, while the Crimson Dragon and the Toad separated. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't know about their situation. After Whitey came out, she looked into the distance. His figure flickered and disappeared. Then, he hid in the void and disappeared. Not long after, Little White returned with the 2 largest Ice Soul Divine Crystals. The whole process was silent, and Xueqi didn't notice it. However, the 2 sunflowers discovered this because they felt that the Ice Soul Divine Crystals that provided them with energy had suddenly decreased. Immediately, they let out crazy roars. Who was it? Lin Xian said, "I've already found the location of the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. Hurry up and go." Xueqi was delighted. Is this true? A smile appeared on her face. Then, a blue long sword appeared in her hand. He swung his sword forward. Lin Xian said, "I'll control the array. Go quickly." Lin Xian took over the formation and began to control it. The 2 sunflowers roared, wanting to intercept him. However, he was slapped by Lin Xian's palm. After Xueqi left, Lin Xian didn't conceal himself in the array. His divine body appeared, and terrifying flames caused the expressions of the 2 sunflowers in front of him to change drastically. They became alarmed. Is this the aura of flames? Heavens! This should be the legendary divine flame. This is a super powerful body. Such a person was an extremely terrifying existence on the buried Emperor Star. How could he be a battle servant? The 2 demonic beasts went crazy. Who the hell are you? They asked in alarm. Lin Xian said, "You don't know who I am. If you don't do anything, I'll spare your lives. Moreover, I'll ask her to leave a piece for you." The 2 sunflowers thought for a moment and said, "Fine." They didn't dare to attack him. This was because such a powerful body was their greatest restraint. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he nodded. He said, "Xueqi, leave a piece for them." Xueqi, who was below, had already seen the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. When she heard Lin Xian's words, she was startled. However, she also left a piece for him. She put away the rest of the Ice Soul Divine Crystals. Soon, she arrived above. When she saw that the 2 sunflowers weren't fighting, she became confused. What's going on? Lin Xian, who had already put away his 9 young divine body, spoke. Perhaps they didn't want to fight after witnessing my strength. Since I've already gotten it, let's go. Shueqi nodded. Then, she took out a piece of the Ice Soul Divine Crystal and said, "This is for you. Although I know that you don't comprehend the laws of ice, you still put in a lot of effort. You should take it. Perhaps you can exchange it for other treasures after you leave." When Lin Xian heard this, he nodded and took it. He didn't care about it. After all, he had already taken away the two largest pieces of the Ice Soul Divine Crystal. After all, Shueqi's Ice Soul Divine Crystals weren't even comparable to his. The two sunflowers put away the array and prepared to leave. However, it was at this moment that several terrifying auras appeared in the distance. A Saint King's aura engulfed heaven and earth. At the same time, he roared, "Who dares to attack the purple spirit shaking heaven's people? Kneel down and accept your death." When these words were spoken, the people in the surroundings were so scared that they almost knelt down. It was too terrifying. A Saint King had come. Shueqi's expression also changed. "Not good. Let's leave quickly." They didn't expect that the purple spirit shaking heaven's people would come so quickly. Moreover, there was a true Saint King among them. No matter how strong the two of them were, they couldn't be compared to a true Saint King. The two sunflowers soared into the sky and flew toward the distance. However, at this moment, a palm engulfed heaven and earth and sealed everything. It seemed like the Saint King had attacked directly. Shueqi's expression changed drastically. Even the apex geniuses wouldn't be able to face such a terrifying power unless they had a Saint King's weapon. Only if they possessed a heaven-defying magical ability could they fight a Saint King. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to overcome this power and the suppression of the laws. Lin Xian set up an array formation, which was a spatial array formation. He immediately left this space and appeared on the other side. Then, he said, "You should leave first." "What will you do then?" Shueqi was taken aback. "This is a Saint King. Do you want to contend against him?" Lin Xian said, "My mission is to protect you. You should leave first." As he spoke, he used a spatial array to engulf Shueqi. Shueqi still wanted to say something, but her body had already disappeared. Lin Xian's eyes, however, shone with an extremely cold light. A Saint King? It just so happened that he wanted to see what kind of power his divine body had reached after it made a breakthrough. Previously, neither the sunflower nor the purple lightning could make him use his full power. Chapter 44-45. In the sky, the Saint King from the Xiling Wonderland shouted angrily, "Do you want to leave?" He attacked again, wanting to attack Shueqi. In his opinion, Shueqi might be the one who attacked him. However, at this moment, a terrifying radiance burst out from below. It was as if a sun had descended to the world. Then, a golden figure charged out like a god of war. "Do you want to die?" When the Saint King sensed that the opponent's aura was not that of a Saint King, the palm in the sky fell down. A mere ant dared to go against him? Lin Xian, on the other hand, attacked aggressively. His fist seemed to have transformed into a peerless golden crow that soared into the sky. It collided with the opponent's palm. Boom, boom, boom. When the two collided, the sky fell and the earth cracked. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. The people in the distance knelt down on the ground. Their scalps went numb, and they almost fainted. After the attack, the terrifying palm in the sky was pushed back. The Saint King's pupils shrank. His body was so strong that it was not weaker than his. Who is he? His eyes could see through everything. However, at this moment, he saw the golden fist coming toward him again. "You want to die?" He roared and threw out two palms. He collided with the opponent again. After an earth-shattering sound, he was pushed back. The geniuses from the Wonderland behind him were also stunned. What the hell? Who is this person? Is he another Saint King? They did not dare to move forward. On the other side, the golden figure also rushed into the sky and disappeared. "Elder, who exactly is he? Do you know which Wonderland he is from?" The people from the Xiling Wonderland asked. The Saint King leading them looked cold. He did not seem to have the aura of a Saint King, but his body was not weaker than mine. I don't know which side he is from. However, I think the people around us should have seen it. We should be able to find out after we collect their souls. Let's go. The four figures beside him flew into the distance, wanting to collect the souls. However, at this moment, a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky. They were like the eyes of a god, looking down. The terrifying eye technique was activated. Those who had watched Lin Xian's fight were instantly affected by the eye technique, and their memories were changed. Damn it! The middle-aged Sage King wanted to make a move, but the pair of golden eyes had already disappeared. His expression became even colder. Could it be that there was more than one person? Not only was there a person with an extremely strong physique, but there was also an extremely terrifying soul expert? Who exactly was it? On the other side, Lin Xian also flew into the distance. Previously, he had exchanged 3 palm strikes with the Sage King, allowing him to know his own strength. His current physique was definitely not weaker than a Sage King. Therefore, even if he met a Saint King in the future, he would be able to contend against them. This made him really happy. Lin Xian didn't immediately join Xueqi. After all, it would be best for him to act alone. With his strength, as long as a few saint rulers did not join hands, he would not be in any danger. With a sway of his body, Lin Xian flew towards a direction in the distance. At the same time, an extremely terrifying law of death emerged from his body and enveloped him. In this space, the great snow mountain was vast and boundless. Within the snowy mountain was a pagoda, ice tower. The pagoda exuded an extremely mysterious aura as great Daos intertwined within it. Obviously, this was a martial pagoda, and there were definitely supreme great Daos within it. It was very useful for sage venerables to raise their law of death. It was also very useful for sage kings. At this moment, there were a few figures standing near the ice martial pagoda. These people's strength and auras were unusually strong. There were young geniuses, and there were also experts of the older generation. One of them had boundless arrogance in his eyes. He was young Master Ling Tian. Other than him, people from the other grotto heavens were also present. Green Hill Grotto Heaven, Vast Grotto Heaven, and some primordial tribe experts were also present. There were even Sage Kings present. These people gathered together and looked at the ice martial pagoda in front of them. Their eyes shone brightly. Let's break the array seal in front of us together. Young Master Ling Tian walked out and said coldly. There were 3 battle servants behind him, including Fu Hongye. Fu Hongye was expressionless as she followed behind young Master Ling Tian respectfully. Hearing young Master Ling Tian's words, the others looked at each other and nodded. Sure. These people attacked together and broke the array seal in front of them. Then, they walked into the ice martial pagoda. Not long after they entered, another figure descended from the sky. This person had an extremely strong aura of death. It was Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked at the pagoda in front of him and was shocked. What a strong martial aura. The array seal had already been broken. It seemed like someone had entered. He activated his heavenly secret god eyes, and a smile appeared on his face. He was not too late. His body swayed, and he walked into the ice martial pagoda. After he entered, the cold aura inside became even more terrifying. Fortunately, with his divine body, he did not need to defend himself. Soon, he arrived at the front. The people in front of him had already stopped. This was because they realized that there was a huge statue there. It was emitting a faint blue light. It was carved out of ice crystals. At this moment, the statue was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was emitting an extremely terrifying aura. It was surrounded by a vast hall. Other than that, there was not much else. This surprised everyone. Could it be that there was no treasure here? Suddenly, they heard another aura coming from behind them. Someone had entered? Who was it? They had worked together to open the treasure vault and did not allow anyone else to enter. Immediately, many terrifying gazes turned to look behind them. Their gazes were filled with murderous intent. Those who were weaker would not be able to withstand it. Lin Xian naturally felt the pressure too. He frowned and shouted coldly. He threw out a punch. The black palm shone with a golden light as it tore the void apart. Then, he came in front of everyone. This person was not simple to be able to avoid the pressure of so many people. Everyone frowned. In the next moment, they saw a figure surrounded by black laws standing in the air. The cold aura on his body made them feel extremely uncomfortable. Young Master Ling Tian also turned around and frowned. He asked coldly, "Which grotto heaven or family do you belong to?" Hearing this voice, Lin Xian turned his head to look. When he saw that it was young Master Ling Tian, his face darkened. This was a good opportunity. If he killed young Master Ling Tian, he should be able to meet Fu Hongya. He said calmly, "I'm a rogue cultivator." "A rogue cultivator? I'm not qualified to be here." Another person snorted coldly. This person was from the ancient race. He had a terrifying frost on his body. He was from the ice serpent race. Chapter 44-46. Lin Xian stared at the person who spoke. It was a young man who was a half-step Saint King. Clearly, he was a genius from the ancient race. Lin Xian looked at him and suddenly smiled. In the next moment, he attacked. Boundless death precepts formed a sword of death and flew out. "You're courting death. You dare to attack me?" The young man bellowed and slapped out with his palm. Freezing cold covered the sword of death and froze it in midair. A cold smile appeared on his face. "Do you see that? The difference between us is that." Before he could finish speaking, his pupils constricted. In the next moment, he felt a figure appear behind him. A palm had turned his body into a bloody mist. How could it be? When did the other party appear behind him? He was too shocked. However, he didn't have to think about it anymore because this palm had destroyed his astral soul. Lin Xian killed a half-step Saint King with a single palm. Then, he asked indifferently, "Now, am I qualified?" The surrounding people were shocked. This person was very terrifying. Moreover, his strength was too strong. It was really shocking. When the other members of the Ice Serpent clan saw this, they shouted angrily, "You're courting death." They attacked wildly. Ice arrows and ice blades flew over. However, Lin Xian suddenly disappeared, leaving behind a death vortex that emitted a terrifying aura. This made the Ice Serpent clan's faces turn ugly. "All right, stop attacking. He's qualified to be here." At this moment, an elder said coldly. This elder had an unusually strong aura. It was as if he could suppress the world. This was a Saint King from Howren Grotto Heaven. Since a Saint King had spoken, the others didn't attack. Young Master Ling Tian glanced at Lin Xian and sneered. He didn't care if there was one more person. In his opinion, it didn't matter if there were a few more people. As long as it was a treasure, it would be his in the end. There seemed to be nothing on the first level. The surrounding people started to investigate and found that there was indeed nothing. At this moment, someone said, "There's a staircase. Let's go over." They walked toward the staircase, wanting to enter the second level. However, they found that there was a huge seal on the staircase. Was it another seal? One of the Saint Kings threw a punch at him. This was a Saint King from the Thousand Mountain Grotto. Lin Xian had seen him before. He was called the Earth Holy King. He was an expert of the earth element. His strength and defense were extremely strong. His punch could definitely shatter a world. However, the seal didn't budge in the slightest. Was he that strong? Everyone was astonished. It seemed like they had to work together. Another two Saint Kings walked over and joined forces to attack. However, they discovered that it was completely useless. The faces of the crowd turned extremely ugly. Even with three Saint Kings attacking together, they still had no chance. At this moment, Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret god eyes and looked at the ice sculpture in front of him. "Don't waste your energy, you won't be able to open it." What was the meaning of this? Are you doubting our strength? The three Saint Kings in front turned their heads and emitted a piercingly cold light. The void around Lin Xian kept cracking. Even though his current physique wasn't weaker than a Saint King's, being stared at by three Saint Kings still made him feel extremely pressured. He said loudly, "I'm not doubting your strength, but I'm saying that your method is wrong. I think that the key to entering the second level should be him." He pointed at the ice sculpture in front of him. The surrounding people also looked over. That thing? Are you sure? The Earth Saint King asked in a deep voice. Lin Xian nodded. He should be right. If I'm not wrong, this should be an array, and this rank sculpture is the key to the array. Since that's the case, I'll just blast it away. The Great Earth Saint King threw out a punch. His strength was shocking. With a boom, the entire world began to shake and sway. However, the sculpture wasn't damaged. Damn it, was it really that sturdy? The Earth Saint King frowned. He took out a mountain-splitting axe. That was the weapon of a Saint King. At this moment, it exploded with endless power. He wanted to attack again. Lin Xian frowned. This guy was too crazy. The Earth Saint King was a very tall man. He was like a giant. Lin Xian looked at him and said with a frown, I advise you not to attack. Since this was an array, then he had to follow the rules of breaking arrays. If he attacked rashly, it might cause unnecessary trouble. Hearing this, the others also said, Enough. Earth Saint King, stop. Let's listen to what this guy has to say first. Lin Xian's entire body was wrapped in the aura of death. Moreover, when he spoke, his voice was hoarse. Therefore, in the eyes of the crowd, he wasn't a young man at all. He might be an expert of the older generation. Lin Xian raised his hand and formed an array. It shrouded the front. Suddenly, the ice sculpture shook nonstop. Countless laws of ice appeared around him and enveloped the surroundings. Soon, countless rays of light formed an ancient arena. It looked like a battle was about to start. Many people took a deep breath when they saw this scene. The Earth Saint King even said, I'll do it. This guy's speed was really fast. Many people were surprised. In their opinion, if they won, there might be some mysterious reward. However, it was probably impossible for them to go up, because there was a change in front. After the Earth Saint King went up, cracks appeared on the ice sculpture in front of him. Then, with a crack, it cracked open. A figure walked out from inside. Roar. With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. It was a blue demonic beast, Blue Frost. Its cold gaze swept across everything. It looked like a lion, but it was even more peculiar. Its tail was like a meteor hammer. Moreover, its body was like a small mountain. There was a pair of blue wings on its back. When it spread out, the temperature of the entire space kept dropping. Even those half-step Saint Kings resisted with all their might. Even the Saint Kings frowned. How terrifying. It was actually a rare beast of heaven and earth. Lin Xian also looked carefully. Then, he frowned slightly. He realized that the other party was indeed very strong. It wasn't weaker than a Saint King. Moreover, it looked like this guy wasn't a normal rare beast of heaven and earth. It seemed to have been refined by someone. It was actually the Ice Snowfong. This was a legendary demonic beast. It was really surprising to see it here. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian felt that it was somewhat familiar. He turned around and then narrowed his eyes. It was a woman in a Taoist robe. She held a round fan in her hand and gently waved it. There was a mysterious aura all over her body. Lin Xian had seen this person before. She was Insu from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. He didn't expect her to come too. Feeling Lin Xian's gaze, Insu also turned around. A look of confusion appeared in her eyes. She felt that this person was somewhat familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had seen him before. Chapter 44-47. Shaking his head, he looked to the front. There were 2 figures standing in front of him. They were Earth Saint Kings, looking like dragon war gods. On the other side, Bing Xuefeng was even more terrifying. His body was emitting an aura, especially when he swayed his tail. Just when everyone was in shock and analyzing the battle, the Earth Saint King shouted, What kind of mutated beast is this? How many years have you been freezing this place? You must be some kind of puppet. Go to hell. He threw out a punch. The powerful force, along with a monstrous aura, awakened Bing Xuefeng. So what if his opponent was strong? He was a Saint King. He was fearless. Bing Xuefeng's eyes shone with a terrifying light. He then roared, his voice shaking the 9 heavens. Looking at the fist that was rushing towards him, he also slapped out with his claw. Wherever the blue claw passed, it froze the world. It also carried a terrifying aura of the law. Boom. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. Then, both of them retreated. The Earth Saint King was shocked. Damn it, his strength is so strong. However, take my punch. As he spoke, he used the Earth Divine Fist. The terrifying law was displayed to the extreme. A layer of armor appeared on his body. It seemed like he did not intend to dodge. He wanted to charge forward with his strength. On the other side, Ice Snow Teeth also roared towards the sky. Endless ice and snow surrounded him, forming a terrifying ball of ice and snow. He charged forward. The power contained in the ball froze the entire land. Break. The Earth Saint King's attack was frozen in midair. The ice even spread to his body. His legs were frozen. Even his hands were covered in ice. It seemed like he was going to become an ice sculpture. At that moment, he took out his heaven-splitting axe and swung it forward. Boom. This attack was terrifying. It directly hit Bing Xuefeng's body. Bing Xuefeng was instantly sent flying and fell to the ground. It broke the void. A huge crack appeared on his body. However, no blood flowed out from it. On the other hand, Ice Fong raised his head and roared. The blue wings on his back suddenly flapped, and his speed reached its peak. He quickly charged towards the Earth Saint King. The entire Martial Path Pagoda was shaking under his attacks. How terrifying. This guy was crazy. When the surrounding people saw this scene, their faces became incomparably solemn. The Earth Saint King took a deep breath and gripped the sky-splitting axe with both hands. Then, a terrifying power of laws surged out. Endless laws of earth appeared on his body and enveloped him. In fact, everyone felt as if the ground beneath their feet had come alive. A monstrous aura spread out in all directions. The soul of the earth. It seemed like this guy was going to get serious. The Saint Kings of the Grotto Heaven took a deep breath. Lin Xian looked serious too. As expected of a Saint King, he was really strong. Although his physique had reached the level of a Sage King, there was still a certain gap between him and a Sage King in terms of nomological laws and other divine abilities. He clenched his fists. He had to quickly increase the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul and let it reach the Saint King level. At that time, he would truly be a fearless Saint King. Thinking of this, he secretly gave the 2 pieces of Ice Soul Divine Crystals to the Great Dragon Sword Soul so that it could quickly absorb the energy and improve. At this moment, the 2 people in front of him clashed again. The sky-splitting axe swept out in all directions, together with the power of the soul of the earth. On the other side, Bing Xue's body was covered in endless icicles, and the great path of frost filled the sky. The 2 great paths were constantly intertwining, and the 9 heavens and 10 lands were shaking. Fortunately, the Martial Pagoda was very magical. Otherwise, if it was somewhere else, the entire world would have been shattered. It was a shocking battle. In the end, the Earth Saint King kept retreating, and endless rocks condensed on his body to form a battle armor. It protected his body. The soul of the earth even merged with him. The sky-splitting axe in his hand became dim. However, he managed to block the shocking attack. The storm in the sky was shattered by him. On the other side, Bing Xue was sent flying again. The cracks on his body were even more terrifying, and he was almost split in half. Ka. A blue ball of light appeared in his body and flew toward the Earth Saint King. Bing Xue's body was once again covered in ice, and he became an ice sculpture. What's going on? Is it over? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were all stunned, while the King of Earth looked extremely nervous. In the next moment, he felt an extremely terrifying power of the law coming from the ball of light. Moreover, there was no danger. His body swayed, and he grabbed the blue ball of light. Suddenly, endless great paths wrapped around his body. This was the power of the law, and they could obtain the power of the law by defeating the sculpture. Everyone's eyes were red. At their level, they could destroy the world with a raise of their hand, but it was very difficult to improve further. The resources and power needed were really too much. They might not even improve for a few hundred years. However, it was possible under special circumstances. For example, if they found some treasures in this ancient secret realm, they could save hundreds or thousands of years of cultivation. This was a great opportunity for everyone. They did not expect the Earth Saint King to obtain it. Lin Xian was also surprised. He used the heavenly secret god eyes and saw that the Earth Saint King's law contained a layer of frost power. Obviously, this was the law power that he had just obtained. At the same time, the Earth Saint King saw the stairs in front of him shining. He walked forward. Everyone, I'm going to the second level. The other people's eyes were red, and they also followed. However, they were blocked. The Earth Saint King walked over. Damn it, we can't go up. The Saint Kings all turned their heads and stared at the ice sculpture. Only by attacking and defeating him would they be qualified to enter. In an instant, everyone went up the battle stage. Lin Xian naturally went up as well. However, everyone was worried. With so many people attacking together, who would win? However, in the next moment, they seemed to find that there seemed to be a barrier around them. There was a frost tooth in front of everyone. What a terrifying formation. Lin Xian was surprised. He found that this did not seem to be an illusion, and the power of each frost tooth was not weaker than the previous one. Boom! A great battle broke out in an instant. It was very terrifying. In an instant, many people were sent flying and vomited blood. These were all late-stage Saint Venerables and half-step Saint Kings. They originally thought that with a dozen battle servants attacking together, they could at least resist. However, they found that they could not resist at all. Chapter 44-48. After a single move, they were sent flying and injured. This made them not dare to rely on the test anymore. They could only stay outside and wait with gritted teeth. It seemed that unless one was a true Saint King, it was impossible for others to pass. Some people gritted their teeth and turned to leave. They did not have the strength of a Saint King at all. Of course, some people stayed here. That was because their elders and experts were inside. Someone said, "No, there are a few of us who have not come out." Are you talking about young Master Ling Tian? Although he's a half-step Saint King, I'm afraid that his methods are far from what we can compare to. It's even beyond our imagination. Also, Insu from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven did not come out either. Meng Hao from Haoran Grotto Heaven did not come out either. The young genius from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven did not seem to come. However, the Earth Saint King from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven was extremely terrifying. Everyone was discussing. Someone said, "Oh right, the mysterious person from before also seemed to have gone in and had not come out yet." These people were all waiting. In front of them, an endless storm of laws was set off. There was also a sky full of frost that covered everything. The people could not see clearly at all. They could only hear extremely terrifying auras clashing. Lin Xian looked around and found that this barrier was very mysterious. Even a Saint King could not see through it. This made him heave a sigh of relief. This was great. This way, he did not have any worries and could directly attack with all his strength. The ice fong in front of him roared into the sky. The cracks that were shattered by the Earth Saint King had disappeared. This meant that the other party had indeed been refined by an even more terrifying existence, equivalent to a puppet guardian. Roar! The ice fong roared, shaking heaven and earth. Its huge body charged over. It carried a storm that filled the sky. Its wings also carried a fierce aura. In an instant, the ground around Lin Xian froze, forming a layer of frost. Lin Xian was also frozen. Terrifying claws slapped over, wanting to smash Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian sneered. The death precept on his body disappeared and was replaced by a ball of divine fire. The terrifying Nine Suns divine fire instantly exploded, melting the frost in the sky and turning it into white mist. It danced between heaven and earth. As for him, he sent out a palm strike. The Nine Suns' divine palm collided with the opponent's claw. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian took 3 steps back, while Ice Snow Teeth was also knocked back. What a strong power, but so what? Lin Xian laughed heartily and charged forward. Previously, he had only exchanged 3 blows with the sage ruler of the Xiling Grotto Heaven. He then left. Now, he was truly going to make a move. His terrifying fists continued to swing as his powerful physique charged forward and engaged in a fierce battle with his opponent. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. After exchanging tens of thousands of blows, Lin Xian let out a hearty laugh. It had been a long time since he had fought someone like this. However, he also knew that it was time to end this. He took out the spear of great destruction and used the power of his divine body to complement this inherited weapon. He was probably extremely powerful. A single strike pierced through heaven and earth. Endless demonic chi shook the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At that moment, even the people outside were frightened. Who was attacking? Even the people in the other barriers also changed their expressions. What a terrifying demonic aura. There was also a terrifying power. Who was it? Even the sage rulers were extremely surprised. Finally, Lin Xian defeated Ice Snow Teeth. A blue light came out of Ice Snow Teeth's body. Lin Xian used the Great Dragon Sword Soul and directly swallowed the power of the laws. The Great Dragon Sword Soul now urgently needed all kinds of power to improve. This power was amazing. Great. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Such a battle should have consumed a lot of energy. However, Lin Xian sensed that his strength had become even more powerful than when he had entered. Great. Lin Xian was overjoyed. If he could reach the top of the pagoda, he didn't know how strong the Great Dragon Sword Soul would be. Thinking of this, his figure swayed as he walked out of the barrier and toward the stairs in front. At the same time, the golden flames on his body disappeared. What replaced it was the death fog again. Before him, a sage ruler had already entered. It was the sage ruler of Howren Grotto Heaven. After him, there were also sage rulers who came out. For example, the sage ruler of the Ice Serpent clan and other sage rulers. There were a total of 6 sage rulers. Other than them, there were half-step sage rulers. Among the half-step saint kings, there were 3 people. These 3 people were also extremely powerful. The first was young Master Ling Tian. Although young Master Ling Tian was a half-step sage ruler, he had a sage ruler weapon in his hand. Not only him, but Meng Hao of Howren Grotto Heaven and Yin Su of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven also had sage ruler weapons. Therefore, the 3 of them also successfully passed the first level. After obtaining the power of the laws, they continued to move toward the second level. When the 3 of them arrived, they found that there were already 7 people standing in front of them. 6 sage rulers and a mysterious person. Other than them, there were only the 3 of them. The other experts and geniuses were not qualified to enter. Lin Xian looked at the 3 of them and revealed a look of surprise. As expected of the buried Emperor Star, the 3 of them should have used their trump cards. He guessed that they should be sage ruler weapons. 10 people, more than he had imagined. Including the second level, let's not be courteous, said the old man of Howren Grotto Heaven in front of them. Their gazes were all focused on the front. There was also a large hall in front of them. Moreover, in the middle of the hall, there was also an ice statue. At this moment, as the crowd walked forward, the ice statue was constantly shaking. Then, countless cracks appeared on it, forming a barrier. Amidst the shattered ice, a figure walked out. When this figure appeared, everyone's expression changed. They felt an extremely terrifying aura sweeping over from the front. It caused everyone's bodies to stiffen. Even Lin Xian felt an enormous pressure. So powerful. The puppet guardian of the second level was probably much stronger than the one on the first level. It was a 3-eyed ice dragon from the Dragon Clan. Damn it, it was actually such a powerful existence. When the old man of Howren Grotto Heaven saw this, his expression turned ugly. He said, "Hurry up and leave if you don't have the strength." After saying that, he looked at the genius of Howren Grotto Heaven. It was Meng Hao. When Meng Hao heard the elder's warning, he wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Countless barriers appeared around them, enveloping them. Not good. The elder of Howren Grotto Heaven's expression changed. He did not expect it to be so fast. He did not know how their people were doing. There was nothing they could do. Here, life and death were up to fate. Even if they were defeated, they should be able to survive. Thinking about how these people all had sage ruler weapons, they were not too worried. In the next moment, the sage rulers looked forward with cold expressions. Even if they wanted to defeat such an existence, it would not be easy. Damn it, who the hell is this guy? The Guardian Refined was too powerful. This pagoda had a total of 7 levels, and the second level was already so terrifying. They wondered how heaven-defying the higher levels were. Chapter 44-49. Everyone's faces were extremely serious. Even Yin Su, Meng Hao, and the others took deep breaths. They knew that it was impossible for them to pass the trial. Hence, they decided to use all their strength to train themselves. Young Master Ling Tian's eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. But soon, he broke into a grin. The three-eyed ice dragon's aura and strength were very strong. It was much more terrifying than an ordinary initial stage Saint King. Hence, no one dared to underestimate it. Moreover, the dragon tribe was the leader of all monsters. It was the legendary divine beast bloodline. It was extremely powerful. Thus, the crowd all felt enormous pressure. The Earth Saint King took a deep breath. He looked extremely solemn. He also felt a sense of danger. He was very clear about his own strength. He was afraid that this battle would be very difficult. However, he still made his move. His eyes became sharp and the law of earth appeared on his body. In an instant, he used the vigor spirit. Then, a giant axe appeared in his hand. The axe slashed forward. The terrifying strength could split the world. On the other side, the three-eyed ice dragon also made his move. He roared and the storm on his face turned into frost. He flew out. It collided with the mountain-splitting axe. Boom! With one blow, the Earth Saint King was sent flying. Countless cracks appeared on his hands. He almost couldn't even hold his own weapon. It was too terrifying. His opponent did not come. He only shot out a ray of light, and it was already so terrifying. As for the dragon tribe, it was said that their physique was even more terrifying. If this continued, he would not have any chance of winning. As expected, he was injured even more severely. On the other side, the other 5 Saint Lights were also in great danger. Lin Xian stood there with a strange look on his face. The Dragon Clan? To be honest, if it were other monsters, he would not have any chance of winning this battle. After all, it was too powerful. It was far more powerful than the Ice Tooth from before. However, if it was the Dragon Tribe, it would be different. Up ahead, the 3 eyes of the three-eyed ice dragon looked at Lin Xian with disdain. Clearly, in his eyes, such an ant would not even be able to block a single ray of his frost light. Human extremely cold light suddenly burst out from his eyes. Before the other party could make a move, he had already used the Dragon Clan's breathing technique. A mysterious aura appeared between the heavens and earth. The three-eyed ice dragon in front of him was stunned. He felt an aura similar to his own. Was this person in front of him a dragon? He wasn't sure if he was still roaring. The light of frost came straight at him. Lin Xian used Void Escape and instantly dodged. A black hole appeared where he had been standing and was quickly sealed in ice. Most likely, even a Saint King would not be able to withstand this attack. However, Lin Xian relied on his spatial ability to appear and disappear unpredictably. Coupled with the Dragon Clan's breathing technique, the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul was even stronger. Tens of thousands of dragon shadows coiled around his body. He was like a dragon god, incomparably powerful. The three-eyed ice dragon was even more confused. It roared at the sky, as if questioning Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian took out the blue dragon horn. The voice of the blue dragon horn could be heard. The blue dragon horn could command the Dragon Clan. After the three-eyed ice dragon heard it, it changed. It seemed to be suppressed, a suppression that came from its soul. Although it had now become a puppet guardian, it was still a dragon. Under the blue dragon horn, its power was suppressed. This was a good opportunity. Lin Xian used the Great Dragon Sword Soul and used the blue dragon horn with all its might. There was no suspense in this battle. As expected, the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul and the unparalleled secret technique were fully activated. The blue dragon horn showed its power. The three-eyed ice dragon did not attack. The frost on its body condensed again, forming an ice sculpture. Lin Xian succeeded in passing. He breathed a sigh of relief and put away the blue dragon horn. Lin Xian walked out. Then he entered the third level. He actually went in. Insu exclaimed. Meng Hao's pupils constricted. The two of them had been beaten out earlier. At this moment, they were waiting in the distance. When they saw Lin Xian come out, they were extremely surprised. He was the first one to come out. It was completely inconceivable. How could this person be so terrifying? After all, the strongest of the 6 Saint Kings was the old man from vast heavenly grotto heaven, who was very close to the mid-Saint King level. Next to him was the Saint King from the divine mammoths. After him were the Earth Saint Kings. They guessed that the elders from vast heavenly grotto heaven had come out earlier. Unfortunately, they were wrong. Was it really that mysterious person? Rumble. It was at this moment that a huge boom rang out. Next, a figure was sent tumbling backward, coughing up blood. It was Saint King Ice Snake. Meng Hao and Insu were both shocked. Had a Saint King finally been defeated? Saint King Ice Snake was a middle-aged man, and his face was as pale as death. Damn it. Damn it. Truth be told, he was very strong. Unfortunately, he was an ice snake. He was of the ice serpent race, and when he encountered the ice dragon race, his bloodline and soul were naturally suppressed, and he could not use his full strength. Therefore, he was defeated. Following that, more and more Saint Kings were defeated. They were not willing to accept this result. However, they were all seriously injured and could only grit their teeth. They wondered who would pass in the end. Saint King Ice Snake frowned. On the other side was Saint King Blackhawk, who radiated boundless killing intent. My guess is that there are at most 2 people who passed. Elder Howren is one of them. Other than him, the divine mammoth sacred king might have succeeded. However, it was at this point that Meng Hao said, "Seniors, the mysterious person has already passed the 3rd level." What? Once these words were spoken, the expressions of the Saint Kings changed. Someone had already successfully passed? Damn it. Who the hell is that mysterious man? I don't seem to sense the aura of a Saint King on him. Could it be that he was hiding his true power? This person is terrifying. If we run into him in the future, we'll have to be careful. The Saint Kings began to discuss the matter. It was at this point that Elder Howren let out a roar and charged out immediately. He did it. Meng Hao clenched his fists in delight. After emerging, Elder Howren entered the 3rd level. Not long after him, another tall figure appeared. His power was even more terrifying than that of the Saint Kings in the grand competition. He was Saint King God Mammoth, a member of the 10,000 primeval tribes, and possessed an extremely powerful bloodline. He also emerged from the 3rd level. However, he didn't seem to be in a good condition. His blood was stained, and he seemed to be seriously injured. Despite that, he had succeeded. Obviously, he had benefited greatly from this. Before long, Saint King Earth King was sent tumbling backward, blood spraying from his mouth. Although he had been able to hold on for so long, he had reached his limit. There was no way he could defeat the 3-eyed ice dragon. Chapter 4450. Damn it. The Earth Saint King gritted his teeth. If Elder Tianshi was here, he would definitely succeed. Elder Tianshi was a mid-stage Saint King. However, he was not in this area. They should have all come out. Elder Ice Snake looked around. However, Insu did say that there was one more person, Ling Tian. That guy was still inside. What? He was also inside? The Saint Kings were stunned. They were no match for it. How could a young man like Ling Tian block it? These people looked ahead in disbelief. In the area ahead, Ling Tian's face was pale. His body was covered in blood, and he held a purple scroll in his hand. This was the weapon of a Saint King. He was no match for the 3-eyed ice dragon at all. Logically speaking, he should have been eliminated long ago. However, he was still standing here at this moment. Young Master Ling Tian was not defeated because there was a figure standing in front of him. It was a person wearing battle armor. This was the battle servant's battle armor. This time, young Master Ling Tian brought 3 battle servants. Among them was Fu Hongya, and the other 2. This person was one of them. This battle servant was not ordinary because he was a Saint King, and a very powerful one at that. Young Master Ling Tian was the top genius of Xiling Grotto Heaven. His grandfather was also a supreme elder. Moreover, he was very terrifying. His cultivation had reached the great saint realm, but he was 3,000 years younger than the other supreme elders. It could be said that there was a possibility of further advancement in the future. Therefore, Ling Tian's identity was naturally not ordinary. Among his battle servants, there was a Saint King. At this moment, it was this Saint King who blocked the attack in front of him. In the end, this Saint King battle servant even defeated the 3-eyed ice dragon and won. In front of him, a blue light of the great Tao appeared again and enveloped young Master Ling Tian. Then, his power of the laws also increased. Then, he walked out and walked towards the 3rd level. No way, did he really succeed? Outside, those who had failed were also very surprised when they saw this scene. How on earth did this brat succeed? No one knew. On the 3rd level, Lin Xian stood there. His eyes flashed as he looked at the ice sculpture in front of him. He did not act rashly. The 3-eyed ice dragon on the 2nd level was already so powerful. The guardian on the 3rd level would probably be even more terrifying. After waiting for a while, he noticed that someone had come up. It was an old man. The old man from the vast sky grotto heaven was stunned as well. He originally thought that he was the first to arrive, but he realized that Lin Xian was already here. Not long after that, another tall figure walked over. His body was injured. It was the statue Holy King. When he arrived, he was equally surprised when he saw the 2 of them. Your Excellency, you're truly skilled. May I know who you are? The elder of the Howren Grotto Heaven asked once more. Lin Xian didn't say anything. Sage King God Elephant frowned. It seems that only the 3 of us have passed. I wonder if the 3 of us can join forces. Before he could finish, footsteps came from the stairs. Then, a 4th figure appeared. The 3 of them turned their heads. Who was it? Was it the Earth Saint King or some other saint? However, when they saw that it was a young man, they were all stunned. It was him. Lin Xian was also surprised. It was actually young Master Ling Tian. At this moment, young Master Ling Tian had 3 battle servants behind him. There was a smile on his face. How did this guy get up here? The 2 Saint Kings were surprised. Lin Xian was surprised. He had some ability. Compared to his younger brother, young Master Ling Su, he was much stronger. However, since he dared to make Fu Hongya a battle servant, Lin Xian wouldn't let him off. All right, let's begin, Lin Xian said coldly. He walked forward. The other 2 Saint Kings also took a deep breath. Young Master Ling Tian also walked up. When they got onto the battle platform, the ice sculpture in front of them cracked again. Then, a guardian walked out. It was a huge ant. Its entire body emitted a metallic luster. With a light wave of its claws, the heavens and earth immediately collapsed. Seeing this scene, Elder Howren sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn it, it was actually the legendary heavenly horned ant. It was an extremely terrifying exotic beast. Its strength was extremely terrifying. Everyone's expression became even more unsightly. The heavenly horned ant was even more terrifying than the 3-eyed ice dragon. However, since they had already reached this step, it was impossible for them to admit defeat directly. They had to give it a try. After Ling Xian arrived, his expression was also serious. He guessed that such a terrifying demonic beast was at least a mid-stage Saint King. He couldn't fight against it. Therefore, he didn't plan to continue. Instead, he used his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked into the distance. He was looking for young Master Ling Tian. Since he couldn't defeat the Guardian, then Lin Xian had to see Fu Hongya. At least, he had to break the seal in Fu Hongya's body. There were a total of 4 barriers in the sky. Soon, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. These barriers were mysterious. Even Saint Kings couldn't see through them. However, his heavenly secret divine eyes weren't affected. He realized that young Master Ling Tian was actually beside him. In other words, as long as he broke the barrier, it would be fine. Lin Xian used the void escape technique. Although this was the only space-type mystic ability he knew, he had already mastered it to the acme of perfection. In addition, the power of the great dragon sword soul had increased. Therefore, he directly came to the spatial barrier where the other party was. When Lin Xin came out, young Master Ling Tian was startled. In the next moment, his pupil shrank. "It's you. How did you get in?" He was also very nervous about this mysterious person. Previously, he didn't care about him. However, since the other party could come here, it meant that the other party was definitely a Saint King. "Why? Do you want to attack me? You don't know the difference between life and death." Young Master Ling Tian snorted coldly. He waved his hand, and 3 people walked over. The one at the front released an extremely terrifying power of loss. Lin Xian was surprised. It was actually a Saint King battle servant. No wonder you could come here. Indeed, the most powerful battle axes of ordinary top geniuses were only half-step Saint Kings. He didn't expect that this kid would have a Saint King battle servant. It seemed that he was a Saint King from another world. After coming to the buried Emperor's star, he was suppressed. "Although I don't know who you are, I can feel your killing intent towards me. However, since you dare to go against me, I can only say that you don't know the difference between life and death. Kill him." Young Master Ling Tian waved his hand, and the 3 battle servants directly attacked. Among them, the battle servant Saint King was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian felt the threat. He didn't take it head-on. His body shook, and he directly dodged. Then, he took out the Great Sage Pagoda. He put the Saint King and the heavenly horned ant inside. "Damn it! What did you do?" Young Master Ling Tian was stunned. The Saint King had disappeared. That strange beast had also disappeared. Only they were left. He had to face it alone. How could he be a match for a mysterious Saint King? Chapter 4451. He said, "Don't mess around. Let me tell you, my grandfather is the Grand Elder. If you attack me, you'll be completely offending the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven. The consequences are not something you can imagine. Leave obediently now and release my battle servants. I can pretend that nothing happened." As soon as he finished speaking, he was slapped and his entire body flew high into the air. His face was smashed. Then, he was stepped on to the ground by a foot. "Damn it! How dare he hit my face? Damn it! Who are you? Why are you doing this?" He roared crazily. "Have I offended you?" Lin Xian sneered. "I just want to attack." "Why? Are you unhappy?" As he spoke, he attacked continuously and completely smashed the other party's face. In fact, he even smashed the other party's body. A bloody mist condensed in the sky, and the other party was terrified. "Damn it! If my grandfather catches you, he'll definitely not let you off. Is that so?" Lin Xian snorted and directly activated his heavenly secret divine eyes, locking the other party's soul and sending him into the cycle of reincarnation. "I'll let you suffer a little." Lin Xian did not kill him, but he did not let him off either. He spared his life because of Fu Hongya. At this moment, young Master Ling Tian could not resist at all in front of Lin Xian. His soul entered the cycle of reincarnation to be punished. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked at the other 2 battle servants and attacked them directly. He waved his hand and cast a yin-yang image, suppressing one of them. Then, he looked at Fu Hongya. The 5 elements laws flew out and formed a 5 elements mountain that enveloped Hongya. Then, Lin Xian walked up and said, "Hongya, it's me." Fu Hongya roared crazily. His eyes were red and the killing intent on his body kept erupting. Even though he was suppressed by the 5 elements mountain, he fought back crazily and cracks appeared on his body. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian sighed and waved his hand, causing the other party to fall into a deep sleep. Lin Xian discovered that there was indeed a seal in Fu Hongya's body. It was also a life and death curse, but the arrangement of the runes was different. Therefore, the way to break it was different. This was probably the difference between grotto heavens. However, to Lin Xian, it was all the same. He immediately unleashed the great dragon sword spirit to break through it. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul had gone through the energy of the first and second layers. In addition to the ice soul god crystal from before, its might had become even stronger than before. Therefore, Lin Xian was even more powerful. He was also much faster at deciphering them. Of course, even so, Lin Xian still spent 2 days to completely remove the life and death curse in Fu Hongya's body. Then, he used his heavenly secret god eyes to carefully check again. After discovering that there was no danger, he used the great dragon sword spirit to form a fake life and death curse and placed it in the other party's body. He infused his power to wake Fu Hongya up. After Fu Hongya opened her eyes, she looked around cautiously and said, "Senior brothers, junior brothers, run." However, he realized that there was no danger around him. What's going on? Was he dreaming? However, when he saw Lin Xian, he exclaimed, "Young martial uncle, it's you? Everything's fine now. That's great. Are we safe now?" Lin Xian said, "No." He told her everything that had happened. After hearing that, Fu Hongya said, "No wonder. Why do I feel like I can't remember anything? I've become a battle servant, a puppet." She was really scared. If Lin Xian hadn't met her, she might have been a puppet for the rest of her life. "How are the others?" Lin Xian asked. Fu Hongya shook her head. "I'm not sure either. The situation back then was too dangerous. Moreover, there were too many enemies. Everyone was separated. I was suppressed by the Sage King. However, I know that Shangguan Shaoxian and Lu Yuan are also in Xiling Grotto Heaven. That's because the 3 of us were put under the life and death curse together." After hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. He already knew the whereabouts of the 3 of them. He wondered how the others were doing. He also wondered if Qing Chang and Qiu had left. Fu Hongya asked, "Young martial uncle, how is master? Has he been suppressed as well?" Lin Xian said, "No. He left. I'm now in Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven. Nominally, I'm a battle servant. However, I've already removed the life and death curse. I've also removed your life and death curse. What do you plan to do now?" Lin Xian asked. He looked at Fu Hongya and said, "You have 2 choices. First, I'll kill Ling Tian. Then, you'll be free. You can go somewhere else to cultivate and come back when you're stronger. Second, you can be like me and pretend to be a battle servant. You can use Xiling Grotto Heaven's cultivation resources to strengthen yourself. When the time is right, you can leave. However, this way, I won't be able to kill Ling Tian for now." Fu Hongya thought for a moment and said, "I'll stay." He wasn't familiar with the buried Emperor Star. If he went elsewhere, he might be suppressed again and become a battle servant. He might as well stay here. After all, he was no longer threatened by the life and death curse. Moreover, he could use the cultivation resources here to cultivate. As for Ling Tian, he said, "I'll personally kill this person." "All right." Lin Xian nodded and said, "I won't kill him. However, I won't let him go so easily either." He waved his hand and endless laws, including a black rune, appeared. "What's this?" Fu Hongya was stunned. Lin Xian said, "Great Saint Corpse Poison. When I expelled the poison from those Saint Kings, I left some behind. Firstly, I want to study it. Secondly, it might have an unexpected effect." After doing this, Lin Xian waved his hand and injected the drop of Great Saint Corpse Poison into young Master Ling's body. Then, he said, "It won't take his life, but it won't make him feel good either. All right, you should be careful from now on." He stood up and retracted his eye technique. At this moment, young Master Ling had already fainted. His soul had been tortured for over 1,000 years and had long been seriously injured. Coupled with the Great Saint Corpse Poison, even if he didn't die this time, he would be seriously injured. He might even become a cripple. Lin Xian took out the Great Saint Pagoda and released the Heavenly Horned Ant and that Saint King. That Saint King was already on the verge of death. He wanted to escape from the Great Saint Pagoda, but he realized that he couldn't break it at all. This was the weapon of a great saint. Even if he used all his strength, he couldn't break it open. Therefore, he could only dodge the Heavenly Horned Ant's pursuit. But even so, He was still seriously injured. Lin Xian snorted coldly. After releasing the two of them, he left. He walked out of the barrier. On the other side, the divine statue saint and elder Howren also left. Of course, they both failed. The two of them looked forward. There were still two people who didn't come out. They wondered how that mysterious person was doing. And Ling Tian, why was that guy so strange? How could he last for so long? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.